What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Hypertension, and we are here to open up a new Upsurge Premier League season. I am joined here by the Rebel Fox, my good buddy on color, while I'm on play-by-play, and we have such a hype matchup for you here tonight. Yeah, it does appear that we're experiencing some slight technical issues on the event of being able to hear Rebel. We'll try and get that fixed as soon as possible. Make sure everything is, everything is coming through correctly. One moment to try and make sure that it's fixed. Apologies for any sort of issues. Let's see. Okay, Rebel, go ahead and give it a shot.
Hello?
Oh, for some reason it is coming through the wrong setup. That is odd. Oh, that's what happened.
Hello?
All right, apologies, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't that there was an issue on the technical end. It was an issue that Hyper named the sources wrong. So yeah, don't worry about it. Everything will be fine here for us, ladies and gentlemen. So now we are here. We're casting Maryville versus UTD, as Rebel was saying before he got muted. So talk to me about this matchup.
Yeah, there have been a few changes about these rosters. We've seen quite a few of these players before. Big change, though. Niles from Maryville, he was their top laner, now shifts into the mid lane, and Hybrids takes over that top lane position. So a little bit of a difference there. We'll have to see both Niles' champion pool and then how Hybrids kind of interacts with the rest of this team. On the opposite side, I think you may mention Sharp. Haven't really seen him at this level yet. So both these champion pools are a little bit hidden. Sharp, though, more consistent of a mid laner. So we have a better grasp of kind of what he might look to play in this game.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like when you have Niles here, obviously he is subbing for both Wolf and Julian here. It does create a situation where the champion pool is significantly limited because of the fact that he's mostly used to a top lane pool. Thankfully, the top lane pool and mid lane pool have shifted over, but it's more of you by limited. I mean, you know more of what kind of champions Niles is going to favor because it's going to be the same as the top lane pool. Champions like Aurelia, champions like Yasuo, things like that.
Yeah, that it will. There was actually also a time where like a lot of these champions could have been flexed. You think talking things like Akali, Aatrox, Ryze, Jace, all might have been able to be flexed. I think it's a little bit harder to do some of those champions now, but it's possible he just feels so comfortable on these champions compared to any others that we could see some of these top lane picks. I think a big one also that could come out from both sides is Camille. Sharp plays it, and Niles obviously plays it because he was a top laner. So it's something that might be a little bit more contested than we've seen in other series recently.
Yeah, and apparently, at least according to Twitch chat, which can be sometimes unreliable, but at the same time, I think they might be right here. That Niles was a mid lane main before being a top lane main. So,
Ooh,
I mean, that is
interesting.
certainly something to consider when you talk about the champion pools, as we said before. So, forget everything I said about possibly limited champion pools.
Yeah. Now I'm curious also now to know what his champion pool was back in the day, because obviously if he played mid lane before, might be some people in the chat that actually know what he was playing when he was a mid laner.
Mm-hmm. Well, they will have to see if they can just put it in there, see what all is going on. But at the same time, we're actually about to get into draft.
Mhm.
So, with this, is there any sort of change on 919 that you think will heavily impact this?
Impact the draft in terms of this case.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few champions that got quite significant changes in a lot of ways. So the one thing is like Akali and Aatrox got buffed back up from like what they were before. They're not nearly as like prominent as they were before all of the nerfs that they sustained, but I think they're at least pickable to some extent in this top lane. Another thing is Ashe, insanely good ADC right now. The Q, the slow advantage, and then that you're talking that Comet build when you have Essence Reaver, Trinity Force, intensely powerful. Or if you just want to go Blade of the Rune King with lethal tempo, that's just as good. I think Ashe is one of the most unique AD carries to play in the bot lane, and she's kind of coming into her own. She's really good into Kai'Sa as well, so expect to see Ashe a little bit. Fiora got some of those crazy changes, saw a couple of other changes to other champions. I think the big one, though, Ashe coming into the meta of her own, Galio coming back, I think, at least to some extent in the mid lane, can punish a lot of these AP mid laners we've been seeing.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how those do develop, as we do already see that Gragas, Renekton, LeBlanc, and Morgana have already been banned away here in this game. And then there is the Yuumi. And I thought, and I'm saying here what I was thinking, that Riot trimmed those claws of that cat.
So it's difficult to trim all the ability, especially in organized play like this, off of the Yuumi. She's still an intensely powerful champion. It's just she is such a a discrepancy between solo queue and pro play. It's difficult to take off all of her power in pro play without just destroying her as a solo queue champion. So you got to leave some of it on there. That's why there's at least a little bit of pickability still.
Yeah, that does make sense there, that you would leave it in. And we have seen one of the champions everyone has been loving to talk about over this past, over this past patch, Echo. As
Yeah.
we know, it's just going to be, he's going to be in the jungle, 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 jungle.
Yeah, Echo. What was that? Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Yeah, that was a clever pun. You completely caught me off guard with that one. Yeah, Echo got a lot of changes. He's been getting buff after buff these last few patches, and he's kind of been almost forced into the meta. His Q can clear jungle camps really fast. Once he gets to Runic Echoes, he starts to do some really significant damage. He duels and wins just about every matchup in the jungle. So, really, really good champion to take right now. Sejuani Ashe is a ridiculous amount of CC, and if they want, they could go a Frost composition by drafting Braum here as well.
Yeah,
that would
Glacial
be
Comp.
terrifying. Yeah, Glacial Comp would be terrifying, but we'll have to see if that's what they want to opt for here.
Pull out the Team Liquid strategies, as we are seeing like the final pick from is coming in, and it is a Qiyana.
Interesting, at least to some extent. So like Echo is definitely going to be your jungler. Kled is almost definitely going to be the top laner. I guess he can be flexed a little bit in the mid lane, and Nautilus is almost certainly support. So drafting your mid laner this early is just prio on that. And then even more is like they're banning away ADCs as well. So they're trying to protect this Ashe pick more than they're trying to protect Qiyana. It's a little strange to me. They must feel very, very comfortable with this Qiyana play.
I mean, with Qiyana, in my opinion, she's still one of the strongest mid laners in the game, purely because of her ultimate. Her ultimate, on top of the fact that she already has decent damage already, it just is too overloaded of an ability. Everyone can pretty much agree that something from that ability needs to be cut, and in my opinion, it's the stun. But for the short term, the stun will remain. So I'm not... I'd say it feels like there's very little counterplay compared to other mid laners for Qiyana.
That's true. And again, I'm not trying to discount Qiyana as a champion. It's just revealing it this early in the draft is at least a little confusing to me, given that, they're not pinching mid lane champ people, trying to get rid of it. So, like I said, it's got to be just pure confidence out of this player, out of Sharp specifically on this pick, to be able to blind pick it that early, give away that information.
Yeah, and I mean, Qiyana is one of those champions that you probably could blind pick most of the time, and it won't, hurt you. But here we go. We are seeing that the Rakan was locked in by the side of UT Dallas here. And the Xayah Rakan is one setup I remember specifically for the Johns and YHW back in other parts of the scouting ground circuit when they were in it before that was actually a thing.
Yeah, they were able to run that to quite a bit of success. We do see Camille locked in here, and Vigar. Okay.
That's an ADC Vigar.
Most likely in that bottom lane. I got to see what this rounds out with. It's actually a really good pick into the likes of Rakan, like specifically into Rakan. Vigar is an incredible pick. Throwing up the box can either A, deny Rakan an engage, or more importantly, B, you can zone him away from his escape and the ADC from getting to him and burst him out super quickly. Ultimate Kennen, the final pick coming here, most likely is the top laner.
Yeah, and with Kennen coming in, that will give them a lot of teamfight presence here for the side of UT Dallas. So they're bread and butter.
Yeah, they have quite a bit of team fight. A lot of CC as well coming out of this team. But pretty much every single champion has some sort of hard CC and a lot of soft CC coming from the Ashe to Sejuani with all the slows. On the opposite side for Maryville, also, we see a relatively non-standard composition. The Kled, Camille, Echo kind of feels a little bit like almost like a triple flex. Kled can't go into the jungle, but like Camille can jungle if necessary. It's likely going to be Echo. And then Kled and Camille can almost switch top and bot lane depending on matchups. So if they really have a good matchup for one of these two that they prefer, they can throw them in either lane. And that's the extent I was talking to with Niles, is coming out of the top lane, he can play both Kled and Camille to some extent. So if he has a preferred matchup into the Qiyana, they want to keep him as comfortable as possible.
And one thing you have to think about is, as we said before, it's Niles in this mid lane. So it really could be any of those three champions going into the mid lane.
Yeah, but and that's the thing is like I expect Ted Kled most likely to go into the top lane pretty much no matter
Hmm.
what. That's his usual position, unless they feel very, very confident in the Kled versus Kiana matchup. So then my question is like, are they willing to flex Camille jungle and be super aggressive, super gank heavy with this? Because obviously she doesn't farm nearly as well she did before some of the nerfs she took a while ago. Or do you just keep Camille in the mid lane, throw Echo in the jungle, let them do their thing, and trust that Niles can outplay most of this mid lane patch with the Camille pick that he's comfortable on?
Yeah, again, as we said before, ladies and gentlemen, that it is Niall subbing it into the mid lane instead of it being Julian or Wolf like it usually is. And overall, I think that it will be. I think that this game overall
Mhm.
will be. UTD are an underdog. Let's get real.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a nice way to say it, but UTD are a heavy underdog. Maryville are the reigning collegiate champions. They top four at scouting grounds. Shady is the second, it's either the first or second highest point player out of all of scouting grounds ladder. You have Niles, who's up there for top lane. Kind jungle, one of the better jungles and thing. Like Maryville is so stacked. UTD are fighting an uphill battle, and UTD is not a weak team whatsoever. They are a very strong collegiate
Hmm.
team. But I think
Yeah,
here they've got a mountain to climb.
they do. And Maryville almost feels like I said, in terms of what they're drafting here, feels a little bit more experimental. Again, there are picks like Echo that like clearly they haven't really been put under a microscope in terms of pro play yet because they're a
Hmm.
little bit late to the party before it's after playoffs before Worlds, so nobody's really had a chance to see pure optimization on the pro level. So because
Hmm.
of that, you have a lot of these solo queue builds, a lot of this like kind of solo queue mentality going into Echo jungle, even in organized play.
Hmm.
So it's a little interesting. And then, of course, no traditional ADC. They're running with the Vigar instead, and then duo melee top and bot lane. It makes it a little bit more difficult than just having your standard, mage, ADC, tank kind of setup.
If it was a shorter range and shorter, I was saying lower utility mage, I would agree with you there. But
Mm-hmm.
Vigar does have such a long range in terms of because he does have his
Mm-hmm.
Q, which goes longer than your average auto attack. His ultimate is basically the one button of death. He's got his event horizon, the famous baby cage, to
Oh
put
yeah.
down and just lock everybody around. And I think that that can really help stop the fact that UTD has this much engage. Plus, they've balanced team because they have two AP threats and two AD threats. However, as you said, the AD threats are pretty short ranged, but they will have several
Mhm.
opportunities to go in via the charge, hook shot, Camille's baby cage, Vigar's baby cage, parallel convergence, Nautilus, just in
All the
general, just Nautilus.
Nautilus, just Nautilus is
I mean,
all.
he's tied for the most abilities with crowd control in the game with 4.
Hmm. And intensely, yeah. Like I said, it's it's a super strange
Mhm.
composition. It's not one that can't work. What's really cool about it is like they're hard engages. You said they have multiple ways to just engage flat out. But I think where they will succeed or find a lot more success is counter engaging into the like. So like Kennen has to run in from the side. Sejuani has to run in either from the side or just like dash in general. Kiana's doing the exact same thing. Rakan's doing the exact same thing. And as you talked about it, that baby cage, the event horizon is such a difficult ability to play around when you have to move forward like that, when you have to find a flank angle, that if he catches anyone out, even if they don't die, the counter engage is immediately there. That engage got shut down and it's flat on its face for UT Dallas. And then it's all on the backs of Maryville being able to dive with the Camille, with the Echo, with
Mhm.
the Kled, and with the Nautilus. I think they have to play very heavily around this Vigar having that cage, and they kind of have to be a little bit more patient, choosy with their engages.
Absolutely. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will actually head to a short spectator delay. As you see the champion lineups on the screen, that will be up there for another 30 seconds. But in the meantime, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Game 1 between Maryville and UT Dallas. We'll see you then. And we're live, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Summoner's Rift. It is once again me, Hypertension, joined by Rebel Fox. It is Maryville. It is UT Dallas on the blue side, your reigning collegiate champions for North America. Maryville University with hybrids in the top lane, Kind Jungle in the jungle, Niles mid, Evan RL AD carry, and Shady at support.
Yeah. And to round out UT Dallas's composition, we have Lunarly in the top lane, Nova Bot in the jungle, Sharp in the mid lane, the Johns in the bot or in the ADC, and YHW at support.
Yeah, and with this early game, you have to imagine the focus is gonna be a little bit all over the place because there's not really any like super hard snowballing lanes for anybody.
No, there's not, especially due to the fact that Kennen will be fine with having a lane that's pretty standard, just being able to proc Kleptomancy, and he has the ability to escape and to CC against hybrids, so you don't have to worry about that lane kind of snowballing one way or the other. Both should be relatively safe. The Kiana Kled's a little bit of an interesting matchup. They're both melee, both relatively short range in that mid lane as well. So you got to see how Niles kind of handles this mid lane matchup with a more top lane centric champion. The one place is with Ashe and Rakan, coupled with like the CZ from Sejuani and maybe an ultimate from Kiana, there is some threat onto the Vigar and the Nautilus into the bot lane, but it's going to be a little difficult given they have that CC from the Nautilus and from the Vigar, of course.
Absolutely, that CC will be very oppressive, but right now we do see that Niles is going to try and bully out the newcomer Sharp. Sharp, the only person from this, if I remember correctly, I believe he's the only person from the UT Dallas roster who wasn't there during Season 1 of the Bloody Invitational, and that and the corresponding UPL split is in the spring.
Yeah. As a new, being a newcomer, especially in leagues like this, it's always you can be as confident as you like, but you're always going to have some nerves in your first game, especially when you're going into the likes of Marysville. So sometimes it's better to just kind of play a normal game. So maybe putting him on Kiana is something very comfortable for him. Like I said, it's not a bad pick by any stretch of imagination, just not necessarily.
Yeah, and speaking of newcomers, talking about hybrids in the top lane, filling in, I mean, Niles has been the Maryville top laner for about, I want to say, a year now, year and a half, and hybrids is now coming in, part of this new wave of rosters for Maryville to set themselves up to be the dominant collegiate superpower, and this guy's good. He's good, but at the same time, we haven't seen him because he's been behind Niles.
Yeah, and because it's tough because there are a lot of top laners that would be behind Niles on this roster, but certainly as you say,
before we get too far into it, we almost saw Sharp go down there, had to burn his flash in the process. Niles, no fear.
Absolutely, no ignite burn either in that mid lane, so it's pretty easy for him to be able to handle that. You think, honestly, if he'd gone Ignite, he might be able to go under tower, take that first tower shot, reset the aggro, and then Q, maybe get that kill. But Sharp instead just going to back here, just going to make sure he's not in any more danger.
Yeah. YHW was almost in danger there in the bottom lane, but was able just to dash back to the Johns.
TP's coming in mid lane, but Echo's there for the bubble.
Yeah, but look at the Kennen coming down from the top two. This is going to be a 3v2, but it is first blood over to the side of Maryville. Novabot now on retreat as Lunarly knows that there's not enough left in the tank to be able to catch up there. Double kill for the Echo of Kind Jungle.
Does have to flash over the wall to make sure he's safe, but still flash burnt from Sharp, TP wasted from Sharp, not getting any minions before he comes back, and Nova Bots flash all for that, and 2 kills over to the side of the Echo. That's a great way to snowball this pick. It gets very strong very fast.
Yeah, and who better to put in the hands of than Kind Jungle? He's one of the best carry junglers in the space. He's always been the MVP on really whatever team he's been on. And now he's on a more stacked roster than I think we've ever seen him on. And already it looks good. I mean, yeah, it's literally not even 5 minutes into the first game, but you get what I mean.
Yeah. And the other important thing is, when you have Niles, we're going to wait for this aggression to come through.
Yeah, it looks like YHW and Shady, they just decide, okay, you die now, but it looks like YHW is able to get out after the grand exit. The Ignite is down onto YHW. That's a lot of damage going down. He almost burns alive, and the hook will actually take him down, drags him to the depths, and it's now the Johns trying to run away with all his might, but is barely able to escape Shady and Evan RL, as in the top lane, that Kenneth just get pushed out. Sharp's getting bullied in. And again, this is what we expect out of a Maryville roster.
Yeah, that indeed. Really, really good job there from Shady. His flash at the end to make sure that the kill gets secured onto YHW with the Q. I'm not sure. YHW just kind of turned onto them out of what appeared like nowhere with the grand entrance. And Shady was at pretty much full health. So a little questionable decision there, but maybe just some miscommunication. Thankfully, the Johns doesn't go down as well. Should be perfectly fine on the Ash, just catching some minions here. They're actually up in farm right now on the Vigar, so not a terrible place, I suppose.
Yeah, and I'm really, really hopeful for this because Maryville comes in as, in my opinion, the odds-on favorite to win the UPL. I think everybody can say that, particularly when you don't have Radiance, you don't have a New, you don't have Supernova in this tournament. So that's the big players that Maryville usually traded games with. Now you have everyone else now versus Maryville, and we're seeing it again coming down to the bottom lane. Gank not there in time.
No, it is not. Looks like Dragon is actually, they're attempting to get some control around the Dragon Pit, but fortunately UT Dallas actually has quite a few wards in the area, so they're going to have to do a little bit of work here to try to clear out this vision to make sure it's a little bit safe for them to take this Dragon.
Yeah, and what a dragon for them to get, the almighty Infernal Drake.
Ooh. This is rough though. There's a massive collapse TP coming in from Ken, and yeah, this is an all-out fight.
Yes, it will be, as that's going to be the... Oh, the charge going in, charging right into their demise. Double kill for Lunarly after burning his flash and the slicing Maelstrom. This is just going to be the Infernal Drake. Now over to the side of UT Dallas. What a turnaround from the Southern boys.
Yeah, that was a really pretty fight right there from Lunarly. I don't know that they knew he TP'd in. He was far enough back so they didn't see the cannon. And then couple that with Sharp's ultimate. They wanted to get aggressive, hit that three-man bubble as you saw, but the Kiana ultimate just shuts it down, puts them into the wall, and all the damage coming out from the slicing Maelstrom was enough to shut down this aggression here from the side of Maryville. So good response, great communication for that TP coming out from Lunarly.
And the best part, look at that top lane gold swing. There's now 1,000 gold lead for Lunarly just off those 2 kills because one of them was a shutdown onto Kind Jungle. That's a big yikes, the fact that you give up that level of lead to a cannon.
Yeah, that's rough. Not to mention, like, he also has, like, the Kleptomancy still running, so you have Kleptomancy that's going to be stacking advantage. Ooh, nice.
Johns is in a lot of trouble. That's a lot of damage. Last auto attack will do the trick, break the back of the Johns. That's going to be a kill for Evan RL.
Yeah, nice start to that. Good for the Vigar to be able to pick up a kill this early as well. We see Gank coming in here.
Gank in the top lane, but it is against the Camille's now. A dive in the bottom lane. That's going to be the primordial burst to take down YHW. Here comes Niles. Here comes Kind Jungle. They're in the top lane trying to chase down these members of UTD. Novabot goes down to Niles, and that's going to be Lunarly running away, tail between his legs as the side of Maryville go for this top lane tower and get as many tower plates as they can.
Should be able to get quite a few here. They have the Q cancel from him. Oh, I do see Lunarly actually comes back. Might not get more than 2 then. That's perfectly fine. Off screen, I believe we also saw Evan RL was able to get another.
He's not the only one that's back. It looks like the entire side of Maryville is. But now look at the flank coming out from this Kiana. Sharp, if Niles does run in here with Sharp and Novabot and the raiding the wings, this could be very dangerous, but Lunarly's already gone. Hybrids got caught under tower, does get picked off by Novabot there. Now Sharp, that's going to be the supreme display of talent. Hate that name. Kind Jungle also hates the situation as he gets taken out for a double kill by Sharp.
Yeah, 3 kills responded back to. Again, really, really nice roaming from Sharp here. That's twice now that these fights have basically been won off the back of him being in the right place at the right time. Well done by him. Novabot also contributing quite a bit of CC there, shutting down this aggression. Kind Jungle's just been getting over-aggressive. He has Niles roam with him alongside, and because of that, it's getting a little rough to manage the map. But thankfully, Novabot and Sharp are responding in kind, not letting it take too much pressure away from them.
Yeah, and the pressure right now, I would actually argue, is equal across the map. Like, the bottom lane, of course, is going hard for the side of Maryville, as we see another going here, but that's going to be the Enchanted Crystal Arrow to avoid any sort of further engage. Now, John takes some damage for his troubles, but overall, that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. Ultimate use from Shady. We don't have ultimate use from Ash also in response. So 2 ultimates down in the bottom lane. Still ultimate here for Evan RL, so they have to be careful not to get CC'd again. The Glacial Augment here on the Vigar does make that a rough proposition. They get hit with an auto attack or by that GLP, which is already finished for the Vigar, and it's going to be rough.
Yeah, and I think the worst part about it is that YHW just hit 6, but in the mid lane now, speaking of 6, I think that's about 6 seconds longer than he needed to stay there.
Maybe, yeah, certainly a little far longer than Sharp needed to be there. Ooh, ultimate comes out from Nova, not able to catch me,
NovaBot doing his best X-Missy impression.
but
Does look like there is a counter roam down into the bottom side by the Maryville squad. Looks like Kind Jungle and Niles are there, but the teleport from, I want to say that's from Sharp, does ward them off.
Ooh. Yeah, really, really nice right there. A lot of damage onto the Johns, too, to make sure they couldn't take anything in response, so pretty good. Sharp not able to roam fast enough that time, so does have to burn the TP, but thankfully it saves them from being dived by this Echo and the super strong combination in the bot lane.
Yeah, and now with that teleport burned by Sharp, that's actually going to be teleport advantage, but NovaBot barely takes his own blue buff before Kind Jungle gets there. And this is part of it. Like, UTD is not a weak team. People say it's like, oh, Maryville stomped Collegiate. It's like, no, they were the kings of Collegiate, but it was a very hotly contested crown, and UTD were one of, if not the best team in the South to not make it to the collegiate to the collegiate finals in that top 8.
Yeah. They're a very, very solid team. And what's even better is, like, honestly, I don't hate what's happening right now with their composition. They're canceling out, they're at least, like, kind of trying to get back some of the gold advantages being generated by this roaming. If they weren't getting that, it would be a rough position for them. They're only down about 1,000 gold here. And with a composition that at least plays out a little bit easier in the later stage of the game with melee champions, with all this CC, honestly, they're in a really great place. As long as they don't let this advantage really continue to compound, they're perfectly fine. They can wait for late game, play a little bit easier of a composition to execute.
Whereas they're always fighting, I mean, the side of Maryville will always be splitting. They have 3 split pushers in here with Niles, Kind Jungle, and Hybrids on these champions that are normally, you know, in the top or mid lane as those solo lane split pushers.
That they will. Let's see. Yeah, we have Echo, and we have, he's just kind of sitting around the mid lane.
And this is one thing that the Vigar allows you to do, is it just allows you so much zoning pressure, but here comes the gank into the bottom lane, as that's going to be the Enchanted Crystal Arrow actually landing onto Evan RL, who's probably going to have to get out of dodge as fast as he can. The hook does not come in time. Lunarly ends up picking him up now. YHW in no man's land, probably going to dive. No, he survives there. Niles is now beat first in the fire, does take down Sharp. That's a 1-for-1 thus far. I'm sorry, 2-for-1 thus far in favor of UT Dallas. Looks like everyone's just backing away. They're not going to chase into the jungle against that Kled and Camille.
It's actually just a 2-for-1 right here because YHW was able to very barely sneak out of that fight without dying. It was super close. Okay, so Shady wanted to not get hit by the arrow to start that, and the Johns instead hits Evan RL with it because, of course, Shady flashed out of the way, and that gave literally the ability to engage onto them with that slicing maelstrom, killing 2. Thankfully, a kill was traded in response. But yeah, these teleport plays, these roams coming out from the side of UT Dallas in response, every single fight are so good. It's incredible to see them just be able to communicate, hey, fight's about to happen, and get in position to respond to it.
Yeah. Now, the unfortunate asterisk to this game is that this isn't the starting Maryville roster. This is actually a sub-roster with their starting top laner playing in the mid lane. But still, I'm very impressed by what I'm seeing out of UT Dallas.
Yeah, you're going to take what you can get this early in the season. And remember, I mean, you still have Kind Jungle, you still have Evan RL and Shady in their traditional positions. And Niles is playing Kled, which is really, like, if he's in the right matchup, like into the Kiana, it's basically a top lane matchup just somewhere else on the map. So not really weak by any standard whatsoever. They are getting torn apart here, though, in the macro game. They just lost bot tower to the Rift Herald, and Kled pushed down the top tower all at the same time. And that gold just went much, much further swinging in their favor.
Yeah, right now they do pack a 3,500 gold lead. As you said, 2 towers to 0. They have a CS lead actually in every single role. Well, now jungle's tied, but it wasn't when I started saying that. It seems like UTD are fighting their hardest, but the lead by Maryville, it's not shrinking. It is growing over time.
That is the case. And again, if you can manage this growth, if you're on the side of UT Dallas, then you're going to be perfectly fine stepping into the later stages, having the composition that's a little more standard, a little bit more fit for team fighting. But as you said, because they have this advantage now, I mean, you're talking Camille has about 5,000 gold. That's pretty much their weakest champion. I don't know that anyone but the Kennen can really just permanently push her out of a side lane right now. Can't do it with Kled either. It's really difficult to do. Even like the Echo, it's going to be very difficult to respond to any of them in a side lane, as you said. So if they're able to split the map up into like thirds, like they're doing now, Camille's still on the side lane, Kled's still on the side lane. They're not grouping at the moment. They're just trying to pull this UT Dallas roster apart.
And they're going to wall in onto Evan RL, who just gets absolutely nuked. But on the side lane, Lunarly is actually losing this battle to Hybrids. One more shot will do it. And then, oh, what a flash there to land the stun. Hybrids solo kills Lunarly.
Yeah,
that was one
really
of the cleanest Camille flashes I've ever seen.
Yeah, honestly, that was super, super good to be able to flash. That was about as far as you can flash to make sure that stun's going to hit right there. Yeah, kind of unfortunate. This Ashe ultimate is a great counter into Evan RL because he doesn't have the cleanse, doesn't have his QSS up quite yet. So if he gets tagged with anything, he's just going to get chain CC'd into the ground. You saw it right there with the Sejuani. He basically dies if anybody on the side of UT Dallas is there. So good response from Hybrids, able to push in that lane as well. Just getting a little bit of a response kill.
And you know what's the best part about that for Hybrids? That was a shutdown. That was a shutdown onto Lunarly. So now we talked about how he was sitting with only 5K. Well, now he's at 5,600.
Yeah, very, very good. I mean, he was down, what, about 1,500 gold. Now he's only down about 900. It's a significant difference. He's going to be able to buy some magic resist here soon. That's going to make this laning phase against the Kennen a lot less terrible. I think that's the best word for it, is just terrible.
Well, I mean, I would say terrifying, but yeah, that's another good word.
You start with tear, and then anything you throw after it's probably going to be descriptive enough.
Most likely. And one thing I'd like to point out here, while we do have a moment sort of a peace for a second, while there's no fighting, the vision game from both teams has actually been pretty solid, but right now Maryville still winning in that.
Yeah. With the pressure that they have applied, they have both of the outer towers up. They're able to move their vision on the exterior up a little bit, and that allows them a little bit more space to work with. You see all of this vision around the interior, or the close to Riverside jungle here.
As the baby cage comes down, but there is no response for it. Hybrids and Sharp, this will be interesting here. Sharp does have his ultimate, but did not use the Supreme Display of Talent. God, I hate that name.
Yeah, it's a very long name, difficult for casters to say in general. Yeah, Hybrids has quite a bit of damage. Ooh, engagement on Shady.
Here we go. That's going to be the Enchanted Crystal Era and all of the engagement. YHW hops right into the event horizon. Parallel Convergence does come down in the mid lane, but nothing really else comes out of it. Now, that was a lot of tools used to try and engage onto Shady, and it didn't work. Speaking of engages, now onto the Johns. The Ignite is down. That's going to be the Primordial Burst, barely taking him down. Shady gets it with the Ignite. Now, the Ignite's going to help Niles take down YHW. Novabot in no man's land. Kind Jungle and Niles, they know they've done their job. They're getting out of dodge.
That they are. Nice hook from Shady, and then couple that with Evan RL. He doesn't have tons of mana left, but this CC that he can bring in combination with the Nautilus is just so hard to deal with. Ashe is immobile is just about as much as any other ADC is, so when she gets CC'd, it means a lot more. And as you saw right there, he took the flash for Ashe just to try to get away, and Evan RL was able to chase her down with it anyway.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to bring up here that is so pivotal about the composition of Maryville is how good they dive. Like, we talked about it before, like the split pushing potential. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? All three of those champions are also some of the best divers in the game with Kled, Echo, and Camille.
Yeah, you can reset aggro 3 times with those 3, which is just absolutely absurd to say for any team whatsoever. Couple that with a Nautilus with his ability to shield, and then also the execute from the Vigar. It means if you get dove by this team, somebody's probably going to die. It's going to be very difficult to respond to it. Their counter dive is also super good too. As saying earlier, like the ability to prevent anyone from going down. It happened to Shady. He got caught out with the Ashe ultimate, and they threw the cage around him. Had plenty of that extra soft CC with the Vigar throwing out the glacial augment procs to make sure somebody doesn't go down. So that's really, really good from them too. So they're just playing into their compositional strengths, doing a good job. They lose Dragon here, but Kled is pushing on the top side of the map, and no one is even close to there.
And now Hybrids could be in a lot of trouble. Gonna have to see if he can hookshot out of it, but I don't think he's gonna quite get nearly as far. That's just a swamp kill there. But it looks like in the top side, look at that. They're gonna actually have to pop the teleport. I believe that's some Sharp to try and get back in time, because the damage on the tower is just coming out too heavy from Maryville. The tower's already down to half, and that was only about 10 seconds of wailing on it.
Yeah, it is. It was very funny, actually. I really appreciated what Hybrids tried to do. He like hook shot it to the wall.
Oh,
We're gonna see if
Shady's in
Viking.
trouble here. If he can get the flash over the wall, he will be able to escape. Does manage to barely get it. The
Oh,
SDT is OP. Does take out Shady. And now that's going to be Lunar Lee taking out Evan RL. Sharp goes down. Kind Jungle running away. Overall, it is a 2-for-1 in favor of UT Dallas.
yeah, continued CC from all of these champions. Sharp's ultimate has been on point literally at every stage of the game. I think everyone he's thrown has almost or gotten somebody, forced somebody into a bad position anyway. So really, really good job there. Echo, Kind Jungle specifically, he was able to get a good counter kill. But again, they're pushing up pretty far, and the response from some of these pushes, some of these overextensions from Maryville, my apologies, is getting punished pretty well by UT Dallas. They're still doing a good job of responding with TPs and flanks and such.
Yeah, and overall, the side of Maryville, they're overextending just a little bit too much at times. Like, they have very good vision coverage, but there are blind spots. And unfortunately for them, UT Dallas is able to exploit those blind spots really well.
Yeah, the likes of the Kennen, the likes of the Kiana, engaging from super far distances. So like Kiana ulting a wall and it hitting you from all the way around from the other side is really good. Ashe ultimate's doing the same. Steven said Juani's ultimate has enough range on it that like it's difficult to purely escape a lot of this hard CC. They're gonna find ways to get it. So fighting in the jungle, I think, is just something that you should try to avoid to do if at all possible, because of all the ways that you can engage with these champions.
Yeah, and that is the story of this game. Dive and split push versus team fight engage. It's going to be which one will last it out. If you're talking about like that whole like pentagram theory of League of Legends, I believe split push has the advantage.
So if it's executed properly, split push should have some sort of advantage. At least like I said, in theory, it does have an advantage. The problem is sometimes like in pure 5v5s, if it goes long enough, it doesn't matter how strong your split pusher is. If you're able to win a 5v5 team fight and get massive objectives like Baron, all they have to do is make sure you don't win and they win. That's just what happens. That's how they deny that kind of thing. Is like if like Hybrids gets to the point where he's split pushing really well, all they have to do is make sure Hybrids doesn't win the game, because then all they do is win the game. There's no other like win conditions. So it's harder to execute, even though in theory it might be stronger.
Fair enough. Could not have said it better myself. And it looks like right now these two teams, they're starting to hover around. Look at the vision around the Baron Nashor. Starting to be heavily contested. Are there 3 wards by Maryville in the pit? Let's take a look.
Well, man.
Nope, there's just 2. Okay.
No. Yeah, nothing. Wait, from Maryville?
I'm sorry, not Maryville. Yeah, UT Dallas. I meant the red.
Yeah.
I saw red, and I don't know why I thought Maryville there. It's funny.
Yeah, they must have thrown UT Dallas must have thrown a ward in the back of the pit, and then it got canceled by that the control ward, and so they threw a blue ward in just to make sure they weren't on the Baron at some point. Especially, they could do that with Hawkshot too, so it's not a massive deal if they don't have the blue ward, so they can use that pretty freely just to make sure that they're not losing a Baron at some point during this game.
And right now, the Baron pressure from UTD isn't that great because their wave clear isn't that great. It's basically just Sharp at this point.
Yeah, like Sharp with the fuse does quite a bit. I guess Kennen can, but his access to that wave clear is a lot harder. He has to use basically his whole kit to make sure that the wave doesn't just crash. And then Ashe, before Runaan's Hurricane, which she hasn't even completed the Triforce yet, doesn't really have a lot of ability to clear minions either.
Yeah, she really does need that Triforce before she becomes any sort of like wave clear threat. And right now, ooh, that was pretty close.
Very, very nice escape right there. To be able to get out of that one. Yeah, you just barely missed the hook, and then also the cage right behind it. You got to be terrified if you're in that position. If anybody on the side of UT Dallas gets caught in that, it's basically an instant execute.
Yeah, because as we said, Primordial Burst does a little bit of damage.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Let's take a look at that Vigar for a moment. Nope, can't. I forgot I turned that off.
Yeah. So he currently has 417 AP, despite the fact that he's built a Banshee's Veil, a GLP, and Twin Shadows. So, I mean, that's purely like essentially it's utility and then like a little bit of defensive itemization, no real pure AP itemization or offensive whatsoever. Still 400 AP at this point in the game. Really not that bad. 160 stacks at this point. Not a terrible place to be if you're Evan RL. He's
Yeah.
also significantly ahead of the Ashe at this point, which is kind of like his lane
Mhm.
opponent. So that's a really good place to be too.
Yeah, one thing that you do talk about, oh my god, the amount that he's ahead. He is 3,000 gold ahead
Mhm.
of the Johns. You would think he'd have Kleptomancy or something.
Yeah, you would, but he's not. I'm not actually sure where a ton of this came from. I just remember like I think 10, 12
What?
minutes there was just a massive advantage out of no. It was like 1,000 gold or something off like one kill. I was like, how did that happen? Like there's a lot of variance in some of the minions you can take. So like CS score doesn't always perfectly indicate exactly what your gold will be, especially if you're missing cannons and such. So that's part of it probably, but it's an astronomical lead for Evan RL right
Yeah,
now.
very good choice of words there. It is an astronomical lead, and unfortunately, it isn't on the Johns.
Yeah. That's what,
I'm not sorry for these puns, ladies and gentlemen. You can deal with it.
yeah.
We'll have to
I'm
see is now.
sorry.
It looks like Maryville are hovering. They look to be just, looking at the Baron, trying to measure it up, make sure that they still have control over it, as it does appear that Hybrids is still pushing in the side lane. He's still ahead of Lunarly here, as
That's
now the
right.
fight has started up, and that's going to be Sharp getting
Ow.
popped like a zit. That's going to be it for UTD as they're running away, tails between their legs. Parallel convergence is going to stun up YHW, who had to pop the quickness to be able to get out. Here comes Hybrids on the side. May have bitten off more than he can Q. That's going to be the baby cage put down. Damage onto Hybrids, not going to help out. Slicing Maelstrom cuts through Maryville. Niles goes low, Niles goes down. The stuns back onto YHW are just ever present. That's still a 2 for 3 thus far. Make that a 4 for 2, and that's going to be Maryville winning the fight. They're pushing in, and this is going to be at least the mid lane tower, if not the inhibitor.
Yeah, really, really good fighting there from Maryville. Actually, so it started off in a really good place for UT Dallas. They lost the one kill, they lost Sharp, but they were able to force Evan RL out the back of the fight with constant CC thrown his way. And so it kind of broke into like a 5v4 basically. They could have stopped there, but unfortunately, because of Hybrid's just incredible tenacity to continue walking into the fight, continue trying for the engage, they end up baiting out Literally jumping into the team. They're able to keep everybody or most of their damage alive, and they just win the extended fight because they had the numbers advantage.
Yeah, numbers advantage is a lot of League of Legends in terms of team fights, and once they got it, they just didn't let go of it.
No, they did not. Especially with like Evan RL has all that CC, all that gold advantage in some of this itemization, and then even things like Niles has the auto attack damage. Kind has a lot of consistent damage as well. It's really hard to win a really consistent fight if Ashe especially isn't alive, and then like once Kennan's burnt most of his abilities, he doesn't do a ton in team fights either.
Yeah, and one thing that was absolutely pivotal in that fight was that Novabot wasn't was the one who remained alive. It meant that they just couldn't turn around at the Baron and try and burst it down, because there was always a potential of steal, especially with his team, coming alive in time. Now, Kind Jungle could be caught out here, but he appears to be slippery enough as an Echo. Novabot caught in the baby cage. Only the Time Winder hits as the tower goes down in favor of Maryville.
Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, Hybrid is actually in a side lane right now. No one's backing to respond to him. This is a really, really hard thing to respond to in terms of the split push. So this Nexus tower, or my apologies, the inhibitor tower could go down. But then you also look, they have vision on the Baron, but if they start up, there's no response that can be had right now.
Oh, hook shot misses, so Hybrids takes a chunk. Sharp trying to chase him down, but now look at it. The teleport is only available on Sharp, so they sent him up there. The Johns and Novabot hovering around the mid lane, trying to make sure Baron doesn't get started up. It looked like it was there for a second by Maryville.
Yeah, so I think the thing was they saw that they didn't have massive vision control over it, and so rather than just like immediately committing to it and having the enemy team have complete information on what they were going to do, they instead opted to clear some of it and back off and make them kind of wait and confuse them. So they're waiting to get more vision control here around with some of these sweeper timings to make sure that this pit isn't warded, so that when the time comes that this Camille gets to the turret again, you can actually push for the Baron as a legitimate threat. They have to make a kind of like gut call instead of being able to have all the information ready.
And ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to take a moment and take a look at the minimap. Look how many wards around the Baron Nashor from Maryville. I count 7. Maybe I'm missing one, but well, actually 8 if you include the mid lane River Bush.
Yeah, eight wards in really, really good positions. That's the kind of communication you need if you're going to start up an objective like this. It's super difficult to like win this. Hawkshot again, though, like it's a really valuable tool. It's on very low cooldown with this build from Ashe, and so they can consistently check the Baron without needing wards on it. But after that Hawkshot's gone, there's nothing else to check it. You know, the Johns just doesn't have one readily available. They know, yeah, they left Camille alone in the top lane. Now they're starting up the Baron, so they might have to split here. And Sejuani's actually on the Infernal Dragon, so...
This is, say, it's not even an Infernal Dragon, it is a Mountain Drake. They now know the Baron has been started up. Kind Jungle took too much of that Baron's damage, meaning that he's left low if a fight does arise. Right now, he's kind of lagging behind a little bit, but look at Hybrids in the bottom lane. It looks like that he's going to start trying to take that inhibitor, but now Sharp is here. SDT slams them up against the wall, and that's going to be a lot of damage back onto Hybrids. That fight now has stopped, but it looks like that Sharp could be continuing. That's going to be the flash. That was the Q thrown out, but Hybrids outplayed the hell out of it. He was the one who was thinking Sharp in that fight.
Yeah, that was incredible. That last little jump. So he jumps in, throws the Q, and as that ability comes through, uses the ultimate to just go invulnerable, not take any of that from Sharp. And I think Sharp just got dumbfounded by that move from Hybrids, able to push out a little bit. This does open up Mountain Drake as well for them. That's a nice take. That's a nice little objective. Weren't able to get the Baron, but at minimum, you saw the strength of their split pusher. Now, Hybrids did require a pretty significant outplay, but he was able to kill Sharp on his own. So risky place to be now if you are the side of UT Dallas.
And especially now that he is building up towards, say, with that Jorm's Fist and the Pickaxe. That's a Sterix gauge, right?
A Sterix gauge on...
Hybrids.
On Hybrids? Yeah, it should be a Sterix gauge completed here. That'll make it even more defensive, and he doesn't have, no Phantom Dance or nothing else to be able to take that away. So yeah, Sterix gauge should be completed next.
It looks like we could get some supportal combat here, but YHW disrespecting the rules of supportal combat, just running away.
Disrespecting the rules of supportal combat. Pretty sure the rules of supportal combat are you're only supposed to do supportal combat when there's no other champion on the map. Otherwise, you ruin the integrity of the fight by being able to bring someone else in.
Nah, it's just an excuse to do the Mortal Kombat theme. Do. Better stop before the stream gets taken down. Thanks a lot, YouTube and Twitch, for muting all of those. So now, look at the bottom lane split push. It's just so heavy coming down from Hybrids. I think Lunarly knows that he can't straight up 1v1 it. Looks like there will be a collapse, though, and if they do, that's probably going to be the Baron.
No Ashe ultimate.
Yeah, look at it there. Teleports are up for 3 members of UTD, though.
Yeah, Hawkshot is going to spot it out. They know that they've started onto it. It's actually going down really, really fast, though.
This is what happens when you've got an Echo, a Colette, and a Vigar here. Violent Tendencies helps out. Everything's helping out, but it is going to be the numbers game. It is even 4-on-4. Shady trying to flank. Shady split pushing as the Nautilus.
That he should be. You do see, so Hybrids is working his way up on the bottom lane. The inhibitor destroyed, even with Lunarly there to respond to him. Shady just trying to draw some pressure away from this Baron pit. Because now Camille, what she can do is she can start split pushing either in the mid lane or in that top lane just to try to get some pressure on the map. They got to worry about minions flooding in from the bottom side as well. So it looks a little bit more grim. This is kind of what you want from a split pusher. But now you have to find a place to put Camille, or you engage into a fight if you're able to lure them into something. That's the other opportunity. They could push up in the mid lane, push up in the top lane, try to break one of these in a siege. They certainly have the tools with the Vigar to do so.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, on that inhibitor timer, take about 10 seconds off here, but as I say that, fight starts up, Johns gets hooked, that's going to be the dredge line going in, and now Kind Jungle on a killing spree, does take down the Johns, that's a lot of damage. YHW hooked up, the dredge line takes down a second, Lunarly trying to go back in with the slicing maelstrom, that stun does not hit anybody, Sharp is going to die here after this GA pops, and this will be an ace, a clean ace for Maryville, and that should be the game.
Yeah, really nice chain CC setup right there between, you had the ultimate from the Nautilus, the Q from the Nautilus, and then all of the CC comes out from Nautilus just to secure that parallel convergence from the Echo. Combine that with, Kled ultimate come in, the Vigar change come in, all this AoE, all this inability to move from the side of UT Dallas finally caught up with them. They went a little too far up, got caught out with a little tiny bit of CC, and that's all that Maryville needed to fight.
Yeah, that's all they needed indeed here. And as we're waiting on that post game screen, just looking at it, the biggest contributors I see, I mean, yes, Kind Jungle got a lot of kills, but I still feel like so much of that was Shady making plays and hybrids being near unstoppable in the split push.
Yeah, so like hybrids played pretty well early, despite being in that matchup, being down quite a bit of gold into Lunarly, and he just brought it back entirely. You saw the 1v1s against Lunarly, against Sharp, always going in his manner. Kind Jungle had a really good early game alongside, as you said, Shady, doing really, really good things, proactive moves around the map to make sure they could keep control, and then just kind of like they took that lead they gained in the early game and they just kind of inched it along little by little until it was time for hybrids to just break loose in the split push, and it worked perfectly for them.
And as you can see there, that's going to be it from the on the screen as we are taking a look at the stats and looking at the damage. Surprisingly, Lunarly actually tops the damage charts.
Yeah, so the Kennen ultimates were flawless. They were really, really whenever there was a fight that went the way of UT Dallas, it was almost certainly because Sharp and Lunarly would hit their ultimates. I think both of them did insane amounts of damage on their. In fact, I think it was Sharp number two as well. Yeah, Sharp was actually number two on the damage charts as well. These two's ultimates in combination with one another were working perfectly as an engage. It was just once the split push started coming out, it was a lot harder to find that pure 5v5 engage because either the Kennen or the Kiana had to be in the side lane. So you didn't have that instantaneous engage that you had during that skirmishing phase in the middle. So that's why these two have more damage than everybody, because when they were team fighting, when they were able to hit those, that's where all the damage was coming from.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And now, guys, we're actually going to take a short break before we go into game two. We actually have a message from our sponsors at Kono. Guys, if you're looking to take your game to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals. From keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more, our friends at Kono have you covered. Kono works with some of the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. Kono have been huge supporters of us here at Upsurge and have made generous contributions to our prize pools. If you need a new keyboard or more for your setup, we can't recommend anybody better than Kono. For more information, head over to kono.store to check out the products they offer. That's Kono dot store, Store. Kono. Discover amazing products. And guys, with that, we will be right back. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, here for the Upsurge Premier League. It is going to be game two here shortly between Maryville and UT Dallas. Once again, I am Hypertension, as you see on the screen, joined by the Rebel Fox. And we have a very interesting substitution coming out from Maryville.
Value is stepping in for Evan RL. Value is an insanely talented ADC. We saw him at scouting grounds before, and he's starting to step in for this team. Evan RL is a fantastic player, but Value is, I mean, I think he's a step up even beyond that, which is hard to do.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I I've talked at end about Value and how I think that he is the best player who's not an academy. I felt like he was one of like the two major forces that made Supernova the superpower that they were. And I feel he's probably one of the most coveted academy free agents when it comes to this offseason. So Maryville got to him actually beforehand. And if he
Mhm.
doesn't go into academy or anything like that, he's going to be playing for Maryville. So this is going to be one of the, if not the single scariest roster in collegiate when they have this. This will be a little bit more of the roster we're expecting to see for the collegiate season, because they do have the 80 carry that they've been starting. I said that they will have starting.
Yeah, Value, Shady, Julian, House in the top lane, kind in the jungle. Like that is a roster that is like star-studded basically from top to
Well,
bottom.
it's
What?
actually iconic in the jungle.
That's iconic in the jungle. My apologies. Yeah,
It,
but yeah, I mean, top to bottom, like that roster right there, it's competitive not just in collegiate as like a top tier team, but like as you saw, like scouting grounds. That is basically a top tier team from scouting grounds as well.
it absolutely is. I mean, if you just think about the players and like it's like Niles, formerly on
Hmm.
Zenith, and he was their star player. You have Value, who's been on Arbor, Supernova, who's been their star player there. You have Julian, who is on Polar Ace back in the day, and he was their star
Hmm.
player. You have Shady, who's been on TSM Academy. You have Iconic, one
Champion
of the
four.
stars of Supernova. You have Kind Jungle, who's a star player on pretty much every team he's been on. It's like there's so much stacked up here, and even hybrids. The solo Q God coming in here for Maryville. This roster's so stacked, but still, UT Dallas are not a team to just roll over and die to name alone. You got to beat them.
Yeah, they were competitive last game, honestly, from top to bottom. They got caught in a couple of situations that I think just killed the game for them. Losing towers, especially early, they just weren't able to prevent some of the siege that came out. But I think in the right situation, UT Dallas can take games off of this team.
Absolutely can. So when I look at that, I think that Lunarly's lane in particular, like the split pushing ability, it has to go better. You can't just let him split push all over you. I get that these are very mechanically good players, but so are you, and I think that I would like to see more aggressive lanes from
Ooh.
UT Dallas because I know that they can play them, and that is a very good start.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious to see whether it's probably going to go top lane because that's where Kali's probably best right now. But
I'm
immediate Gragas Yasuo. Yeah,
sorry. I have to
what?
interrupt. I have to interrupt. I have to interrupt. Guys, now, in the words of Returned, Niles ends games, and he does it on Yasuo.
uh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I didn't hear what the one word was. You said Niles does
Niles
what?
ends games, and he does it on Yasuo. If you want to talk about like
Niles.
any champion being the Niles champion, it
It's
is
Yasuo.
Yasuo.
Yeah, he played in the top lane quite a bit, and honestly, like Gragas Yasuo is one of the best pure early game skirmishing duos you can have. I would argue it's the best you can have right now. The
Mhm.
damage that can come out from Gragas and Yasuo, even like the CC, the knockups, all that kind of like. And what's worse is it's not even like hard CC that can be taken away with tenacity or cleanse or anything. It's all disruptions. You can do nothing about any of it, and the damage that comes out from the two of them is just amazing. It's a great combination to have. You see UT Dallas trying to play a little bit more passively now that they see that combo come out. They have Ezreal and Skarner as the response to the Gragas jungle.
Yeah, it's like you see Gragas Yasuo, like, oh crap.
Yeah, we're
Like,
not
oh
winning
crap, it's
anything.
bounce
We're not
house
winning
time.
any skirmishes before 10 minutes in the game. That's not going to happen anymore. We have to plan for further down the road.
Yeah, and that looks like that will actually squash any sort of hope that that it was a Gragas Yasuo bottom lane. That is the Kaisa there, who has been one of the stronger bottom laners, but just I don't think she's been as strong as Xayah as of late. But now with the nerfs to Xayah, and I think Kaisa even received some nerfs, we could see that start to change and see what is the power of these champions now after they've been nerfed.
I think Kai's an intensely like strong champion and does a lot of things right. The big strength to me is that Kai's early game isn't as bad as a lot of like later game scaling ADCs. It's a
Hmm.
lot like so it's like if you take Vayne and Zaya, you think to yourself, okay, they're late game, they do great things, but early game they're a little bit weak. Kai'Sa doesn't have that as much because of some of these builds that give her the Q upgrade early for wave clear, the poke that can come out, and with the right support with CC or extra damage, you can get Kai'Sa snowballing much, much faster. So that's why Kai'Sa's quite a ways up there in terms of the tier. I still think she's close to, if not the top ADC right now, especially into Ezreal. There's not tons of kill threat that an Ezreal can get onto a Kai'Sa early.
Yeah, and it really does boil down to, um, I think this game is going to
Mhm.
boil down to, can UT Dallas take out Maryville before they scale? Because Yasuo, Kaisa, Gragas, good
Mhm.
luck out scaling that.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, just good
It
luck.
is it is intensely difficult, I will admit. The one thing is like I do think Ezreal is primed and capable. Okay, well, now the scaling is just ridiculous. The gangplank couples on
Yes.
top of that, yeah. Um, drafting that gangplank a
Wait, no,
little
now I
early
don't know where
though.
that Yasuo is going.
It's still mid lane. It's always mid
No,
lane.
I
Gangplank should be top lane.
both of them play both of these
I
champions.
know both of them play both the champions, but Yasuo in the mid lane would be, like I said, Niles plays it a lot, he plays it well. Couple that with the fact that it's better mid. So Yasuo doesn't have great matchups top lane in a lot of senses. He's a lot better of a mid laner than he is a top laner, unless they want to get fancy and they want to say, okay, we're going to trick them by saying, okay, we're going to put Gangplank in the mid lane, and Yasuo gets an advantage against Camille, but I don't think Yasuo beats Camille in a pure 1v1 either.
Yeah, and as you said, Camille going into the top lane,
Mhm.
most likely in this case, because the say it is Akali picked out. Akali sometimes flexible into the top lane, but usually
Mhm.
that's players like Hooney, players like, Keen.
Mhm.
I think we've seen the Shy played a time or two. Naguri, Gimgoon. I don't think we'll see it here. And oh my god, is that real?
It's not yet.
Okay, it
Yeah,
has not
there's
been locked
Norn.
in. Oh wait, no, I
Has
forgot.
been
They've
locked
already.
in. Yeah, they already have a
Wait.
jungler. They could do top lane, like, they could do some shenanigans here. They're looking for a support, most likely. Evelyn. Okay, now they're just punking us.
Stop
Hard.
trolling me.
Okay, there it is. Go out of here. Very
Oh,
nice.
Brad is back, baby.
There's nothing I love more than a good bard. And it's really so there's a lot of things about the bard pick that I love in this game in particular. We can kind of talk about that as we get a little bit more into it. But the draft from Marysville is so dominant. I like it's there are very few weaknesses on the side of Maryville right here.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't really see many other than the fact that the early game can be abused if done right.
Hmm.
That's the issue. That is the big issue I see here is, as I said, like
Hmm.
that early game can just be
It's like
exploited to hell and back if you play that early game just right.
I think also the big thing is like so with the likes of Camille and Alistar and then Akali, Ezreal, Skarner, all these champions have the ability to like single out people and then also like dive onto certain champions. So a great way for UT Dallas to really shut down Marysville is to not let this sounds like super like obvious. Don't let Maryville make any plays. Like so like if Gragas Yasuo don't get casks and ults and double kills, it's a lot harder for them to play in the mid game. It's a lot harder for to do that. Kai's is the same way, Gangplank's the same way. And the thing is like if you are able to stall the plays Maryville wants, your mid game's a lot stronger. Camille will beat Gangplank in a side lane in the mid game. Ezreal has quite a bit of damage that's more accessible, especially to many targets from a distance. Akali's really good at executing late game. And then the engage from Skarner and Alistar is really hard to deal with when all you've got in counter engage is a Bard and a Gragas. So to me, mid game can also be played from UT Dallas if they're able to shut down all the aggression from Maryville. We saw last game, Maryville still able to get it done, even when UT Dallas is on absolute point.
Yeah. Long story short, if Maryville scales, UTD
There,
fails.
there are very brief windows that need to be hit here from the side of UT Dallas. Now, here's the
Come
thing:
on, I
they're
thought that
very
rhyme was good.
they're able to do it. That was very good, yeah. But again, yeah, it's very low windows, very short windows. It's a little bit harder to execute for the side of UT Dallas in this game. But it is doable. They're a very talented team. They could definitely pull it off. But this composition for Maryville is just so strong. It is also locked as Niles in the mid lane and then Kind jungle with that Gragas as well.
Yeah, and as we see, again, these compositions, it's very much skirmish and pick versus
Mhm.
AoE team fight, everyone dies.
Yeah, there's lots of like there's many strange ways that this game can go. So like you have like pick off potential and AoE and CC from one from the side of UT Dallas. They also have a lot of dive potential, which is really cool. So like if Camille and Akali start getting fed, they could maybe look to engage onto the back line as Yasuo. So if Yasuo isn't fed, and Camille or an Akali or some one of those two is, if you send them to the back line, you can blow up Kai'Sa, you can blow up Bard, you can blow up Gangplank even in the right situation from those, especially with like Akali because they can't auto attack her. There's no way to prevent her from doing that without Gragas. So if Gragas and Yasuo overextend and don't have all the damage they need to just snap, win, and fight, there's actually some response that can come out there. But as I said, it's so difficult to get the advantages necessary with the way these team comps should play out.
Absolutely is. And now that we are into the spectator delay, we have seen like what the summoner spells will be. And once again, triple teleport coming out from UT Dallas, giving them that map mobility.
It gives them map mobility to respond to the plays that will come out. The problem is like the plays that can come out will come out very fast. You're talking like a Bard ultimate into a Gragas cask and then a Yasuo ultimate is basically a one fight. The Gangplank throw his ultimate on top of it, and you've got 4 people that have assisted now with a kill, with like 2-3 kills that could come out. It's a lot harder to respond purely with this team composition. The other thing is like Camille, when she gets there, can't cast an ability and immediately stop the fight. She has to hookshot, come in, ultimate somebody. Akali has no direct CC anymore because that was taken away from her ultimate. She can't do it either. So like the damage input can increase, but there's no real way to disengage a fight when these guys TP in.
Yeah, there really isn't, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, in just a moment, we're actually going to take a short break after this intermission. But first up, we're going to give you a little bit of a word from our friends over at Midwest Esports. Say with Midwest. Midwest has been around for many years, starting as a small student group out of Wichita State University. Since then, they've grown to be a veteran organizer to tournaments and events throughout the United States. They host tournaments for games like League of Legends, Rocket League, and Overwatch. For more information, check out MidwestEsports.com. As you can see, the spelling there on the screen. And now, with that, we're going to go into a short break. We'll see you when we come back. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, here on to Summoner's Rift for Game 2 between University Texas Dallas, the Comets, versus Maryville University, our reigning, defending collegiate champion here in North America. Once again, Hypertension and Rebel Fox here. You know who these players are. So let's get on to it here. Why don't we start this mid lane? He's so fun to watch.
Yeah, that it is. A couple of really, really intensely mechanical champions, especially after the changes. Akali can get really hard to play, especially in the team fighting stage. Yasuo, one of those champions as well. But again, both of them are looking to play around with their junglers, especially. So like the Gragas Yasuo, everybody knows about that. But
And
it's a really
Soviet
good combo.
Russia. Yagas plays you.
Yagas plays you, yeah. Novabot and Sharp can also do a very similar thing. There's quite a bit of CC and damage that can come out from just the Skarner alone. Couple that with the execution and the mobility of of an Akali, you can almost start a fight in the river as Skarner and then expect Sharp to be there very, very quickly, even if he's standing in the mid lane. That's just how mobile this Akali can be. And it's not absolutely pivotal that you hit the first use of your R, so you can use it for mobility now from the mid lane. It's a little bit interesting to see that happen. So I'm curious to see whether this Skarner pick should be used. In my opinion, it should be used to shut down Gragas specifically. I don't think Gragas ever really beats a Skarner in a pure 1v1, especially on top of the Spires. So I want to see him press that advantage and then try to get Sharp to use a like wave clear, try to get ahead in the laning phase so he can be the first one to these roams and he doesn't have to worry about Niles and Kind Jungle just getting the step up in skirmishes.
Ooh. Yeah, and another thing to account for in terms of that Akali, though, is that she did receive a pretty hefty nerf because her ultimate no longer stuns the target it hits.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with that R1. No micro stun anymore means it's really bad because there's no way to disrupt somebody that's trying to get away. There's no CC that can come out from the Akali. But now it's less important to hit that first like R1 unless you desperately need the damage. But you can use it a lot more as a mobility spell instead of anything else. So that's one at least kind of it's like kind of a silver lining more than anything.
As we see Niles dashing around the minion wave like he's playing Aurelia.
It's a little easy to do when you have a bunch of dashes on the Yasuo.
Yeah, I mean, Yasuo is one of those champions that, I mean, infinite dashes! Because that's fun.
That is fun. As long as he has the minions there. You see Skarner in the bot lane. He got spotted out on a ward, though, so Value and Shady should feel relatively safe being here. Another really important thing about this is, like, Alistar is a great pick in a lot of senses. I don't think he's like absolutely god tier right now, but he certainly has quite a bit of engage potential. Bard is one of the best champions into countering some of these melee engaged champions. Things like Rakan, Alistar, Leona, because of the Q and then the W damage can respond as well before the rest of the combo comes out from Alistar to CC his Kai'Sa or himself. So Shady is a zoning tool, especially towards this Alistar in the laning phase. He has to be very choosy about when he goes in and the angle from which he comes in. Otherwise, he can get stunned up. Novabot contesting this mid lane, or this... Oh.
Yeah, and here I think actually Maryville loses this fight overall because I don't think they're going to catch Novabot. They're at lower HP. They actually now might be able to catch him. The slow, unfortunately, does not land onto him. Here comes the Camille coming in. Lunar Lee does hit him on the flank. Now it's gonna be Kind Jungle going down first. The minions will help Novabot pick up first blood.
Yeah, really, really good. And again, that's the whole intention behind Novabot. He catches out Kind Jungle to start with. Niles was able to roam fast enough, but no ultimates out yet from either of these mid laners or junglers, so no massive advantage from these two. Also, difficult for Niles to try to stack one of these tornadoes when you have the slows coming out, or the mobility coming out from the Akali. So kind of a difficult 1v1, and literally with a great roam there.
Yeah, great roam, but now he's going to get a little bit punished on his way back. Gangplank can be very lane bully-esque in the early game in terms of he's got a lot of poke, he's got a lot of harass. It's just once you get on top of him, he can't do anything. But you have to get on top of him and under tower. Not really an easy thing to do.
Yeah, especially with barrels and his oranges. There's so many difficult things. The nice thing is his jungler came up here to try to break this freeze that he definitely had, and he was able to accomplish it. The wave's now under tower, so great job from Novabot. He recognized that Lunarly needed the assistance to break that siege. Otherwise, he was just going to get stuck in a terrible place where he wasn't able to farm. It was already a great minion lead here from Hybrids, but that could have been a lot worse if it had extended even longer. So good read there from Novabot.
A very good read. Apologies for that. Now, we're kind of in this little bit of a lull. Nobody's really trying to go for anything sort of spectacular, anything there, but there is a lot of invasion vision for the side of Maryville around that red buff of
Mhm.
Novabot.
Yeah, like I said, once the level 6 is accomplished, at least at minimum by Yasuo, because the belly slam I think is what that ability saw. Is that what that is? I never am able to. It's body slam, not belly slam. It's body slam. Once
Yeah.
body slam's there, that counts as an instant knockup.
And speaking of knockups, that's going to be one onto Shady, who has to burn his flash. YAW burning it down. That's going to be Shady picking up the kill with the Ignite now. Novabot going to get hit out by this second skin passive. That's a lot of damage.
Ooh.
Sharp now on top of value. Lunarly takes out Kind Jungle. That's 2 kills actually returned by the side of UT Dallas just for the one. Niles now might be in trouble. I mean, we talk about Yasuo's all the time is just joking, but I think he's taking it a little bit too seriously. That's going to be the last breath, and he goes into 3 members. He dies for his efforts, but he does get the kill onto Sharp.
Not sure if that's worth entirely. Just a pure 5v5 here in the bottom lane.
Is it
Anything
worth?
else. And I don't know that it's worth, honestly, for Niles to break under that tower. He also killed Sharp, I believe, who didn't have shutdown gold yet. If it had been Camille, you could maybe make that argument, but I don't think you can make it for Sharp. Maybe just wanting to flex a little bit for the crowd here. Show his dominance on this pickup.
Yeah, gotta flex for the fans.
That you do. That you do. So Niles here, so he picks up the Hex Drinker early. That's going to help him in this laning phase quite a bit. We also see double pickaxe coming out here for this Kaisa. Not a bad place.
Right now, we are seeing that, I mean, as you said, not a bad place for the Kaisa, but not the ideal one.
Yeah, not perfect. Ezreal also didn't pick up any kills. He's on his Sheen and his Tier, so he has a little bit of punch to some of these Qs and autos that'll be coming out, but certainly no AD yet means his trading power is at least a little more limited than it will be in a minute when he fishes that mirror mana. Hybrids and Lunarly getting at it.
Yeah, those two are just like, no, I'm going to punch you in the face. No, I'm going to punch you in the face. No, okay, I'm going to punch you back in the face. No, I'm going to punch you back in the face.
Yeah, and again, like I said, these Sheens are great for poking. Things like these Qs that can come out from the Ezreal, from the Gangplank, but they add no real combat power. Oh, YHW not going to engage right there with the Hex Flash. Just going to walk away. Probably a decent decision.
A very good decision here. And now it looks like YHW going to get hit up by the Void Seeker. Doesn't look like anything else is going to come out of it. Right now, the best thing for the side of Maryville is that Hybrids is just getting a free farming lane because there are 5 members around the Cloud Drake.
That they are. There are 2 kills on Camille, so the gold lead actually isn't excessive. It's only about 20 gold here total for Hybrids, but the CSing, the free CSing is great for him, getting those Silver Serpents up, getting some more of that gold to get his Sheen, to get his Triforce completed, get past this little kind of trough that Gangplanks get stuck in.
Novabot might have been caught out by Shady here. That's a lot of damage. Can he get back to his team? With ease.
He didn't have the meep. Yeah, Shady didn't have his meep. He was I think he was about a second or 2 off of having a meep, and that slow would have certainly been the demise of Novabot, but because that didn't come out fast enough, no kill there for Shady and the rest of Maryville. Nice stun.
That was some disgusting damage.
Yeah, electrocute on the bar. So the Q, auto, and meep, auto attack empowered, is enough for an electrocute proc, and it's a ridiculous amount of base damage early on in the game. See, here's Kind Jungle and Niles. They're kind of just sitting around in the mid lane.
Yeah, right now it's just looking at the side of Maryville, trying to make a play. Look at the roam from Niles and Kind Jungle. It's not going to end up going anywhere. But still, the fact that they made it shows that they are absolutely committed to trying to make plays on the map. They are not good sitting idle. But you know who has been sitting idle? Lunarly, other than that first setup.
I'll learn him. Yeah, he has been sitting idle. He's trying to keep up. The Gangplank, unfortunately, the more that the gang... Oh!
That was a lot of damage there, but now there's the knockup. There is no last breath available. The explosive cast whiffs wide. Kind Jungle now taking a chunk of damage. Sharp being hopped on top of by Niles. Will they be able to get it? Shady does land the stun, but YHW and Niles both get kills. Mid for support.
Yeah. Good place. So a lot of mistakes there in the mid lane between Kind Jungle and Niles, just not being able to follow up on either one, not hitting much of their CC, but steal the kill onto Sharp somehow, just because Sharp gets a little bit antsy there. I think just expecting too much. I don't know what happened with Shady. It looked like he just got pushed too far up in the lane. Maybe tried to E through the wall to make sure he didn't go down, but not going to be able to escape.
Yeah, and it really is unfortunate because I would say it's like you love to see Bard, except for
I
when he's
love Bard.
roaming on the wrong side of the map with the enemy team in between him and his team.
That's true. And like I said, I don't think he intentionally was just trying to eat through. I think he was trying to escape some sort of pressure that was being applied to him, which, I mean, you got to throw a shot in there somehow if you're able to escape. But, um, yeah, obviously it didn't work out for him there. And like I said, it looked like maybe what he's trying to do is push the wave in to make sure that the Ezreal couldn't pick up any additional farm. But the Alistar was there and prepared for it. And Skarner was also ready for the response. So just the full combo was enough to kind of drop the Bard's health enough to kill him in the response.
And Niles just playing with fire here
Ooh.
into Sharp. Here comes Kind Jungle, but again, he's playing with fire. Eventually, you're going to get burned.
If that is the case, Sharp's doing a really good job using the Shroud to deny vision of himself so that even if he gets knocked up, even if he has the ability to be ulted by Niles, Niles just can't do it. So
We go, Kind Jungle in. Oh, what a body slam! YHW gets absolutely annihilated. Kind Jungle, can he get out? Oh my god, no! No, it barely misses him! Oh my god! Oh no!
Tries to double up on the Zonias onto the Gragas there. All he had to do was ult the tower. If he ults the tower, there's no damage that can come from him. Instead, not able to get that done. Shady trying to keep the John.
He was trying to use Tempered Fate to save his to say his best mate, but it didn't work out well. Shady's probably still dead
now
here.
Now there's 2 low members here. This is rough.
Yeah, Shady's a dead man, but the Johns could take
Oh!
down here. Can he burn down? Yes, he does! Shady solo kills the Johns in that bottom lane fight. Supportal combat comes out on top.
Yeah, very, very nice right there. Yeah, so the Bard has a ton of damage you have to respect, and Ezreal just doesn't have any decent defensive stats, so he's going to get chunked out. I was curious, Shady flashed for that very, very fast, and I was very worried he was going to lose it for free, but the Ignite and the Electrocute proc were enough to drop the Ezreal, so good trade on that, on his part.
And it looks like, Hybrid not able to get out because I think he already blew the orange. There is no tower aggro, though, because there were still so many minions alive. Now there's tower aggro. Hybrids does pop the cannon barrage. Will it be enough? No, it will not. And, ooh, that was close. One more parlay, and that would have been, well, a dead Scorpion.
That it would have been. The thing is also that, like, the last E auto attack to stun him, I don't know what would have killed him before the orange was applied. So if he had waited, the orange would have been not only more effective, but removed the CC, and I think he would have won the fight afterwards. Just a little impatient, trying to get that health back for the duel a little too early. So Bard doesn't have quite the in-tribe track enough to get the Johns here.
This game is just so bloody, so aggressive, and now that's going to be a body slam. YHW gets his Hex Flash interrupted.
Nice.
This is a lot of damage coming down onto both sides, but it is the side of UT Dallas getting the advantage here. That's 2 down. Actually, no, only 1. Make it 2 now. Niles going to be 3. Sharp not dead yet. Value gets stunned up. Make it 4, ladies and gentlemen, for 1 in favor of UT Dallas.
Yeah, UT Dallas just hasn't been able to, or my apologies, Maryville hasn't been able to find any true success with Kind Jungle and Niles around the map. They had that one really good engagement in the bot lane, but that was about it. It's been UT Dallas shutting down the aggression that can come out from Maryville, and they're just not losing. And because of that, now they're in a place where they can fight. If it's 13, 15 minutes in, these champions are starting to hit some of their item spikes. Akali can dive, as you just saw in that fight. Contributions from the Skarner. Novabot's going crazy in this game, so they're in the right. They've done the correct things to be competitive in this game. I'm happy to see them able to identify what they need to do to stay, relevant in this series.
Yeah, and a lot of it has been just answering the over-aggression from Maryville and punishing it with everything that they have. It's working out absolutely amazingly for them. As now Novabot, oh my god, that's a fast Scorpion there. That's a Hummer running right at your face. That is a dead Kind Jungle.
And what do you do in that situation? He procs Predator and he's running through his own zone, and they have the Rift Scuttler there. Like, he's just going to run you down faster than any other champion.
Somebody playing the initial D.
That they can. Yeah, see, Good pickup also that Johns is able to get this. Johns has gone from, like, it looked like he had nothing. I think he was 0-1-2 at one point. Now he's 3-1-5, just picking up some of these kills, trying to stay competitive. He was very far behind Kaiser at one point, but now actually has about a 500 gold lead. So
Hmm.
important that the Ezreal has that kind of a gold lead. He's got the Kleptomancy, so he wants to have that gold lead in order to get better itemization. And I think he finally has at least a small edge of Kaiser.
Yeah,
Hybrid,
however,
though,
first
is
tower does fall in favor of Maryville. And will equalize the gold out a little bit. The Johns does dodge out of the Tempered Fate. Will this Q hit? That will be no Cosmic Binding coming out. That'll just be straight up value taking out the Johns.
yeah, very, very good there. Now we saw Shady, he actually has the Hextech Revolver, and that auto attack went off very quickly. So that combined with his auto attack and combined with the Meep was enough to slow to not have to worry about. I thought what he was going to do was auto and then
Oh,
Q
they don't
kind
know
of
that
from
the
middle.
Alistair's right there. That's
Yeah,
going to be a lot of beef just right in your
Oh!
face, but the headbutt does not follow up with the rampage.
Yeah, YHW just missing the combo by a little bit, not able to get the headbutt at the end of that.
Yeah,
Been a
ooh,
very
that's
dead
going to
bar.
be the last breath. Niall's taking a lot, but he did have that wind shield available. Wind wall going to block out the True Shot Barrage.
Yeah, and again, this is, I think, the third time we've seen Yasuo start to get aggressive into Sharp's Akali, and then Kind Juggle runs in just a little bit too late to succeed in the fight.
Mhm.
It's kind of a rough situation to be in. Like I said, he's trying to find something, he's just not able to at the moment. Niall's getting aggressive on the Lunarly now, but with Gangplank behind him, no real trade that can happen.
Yeah, now Niles
This is-
goes back into the face of the Camille, who absolutely destroys him. Lunarly's on a rampage. Hybrids is in no man's land. Headbutt pulverize, and that's he gonna get out thus far, but nope, the Ignite will take him down. He's gonna barely die. YHW goes down as well, but still it is a 1-for-2 in favor of UT Dallas thus far. Now Value probably dead here, does get taken out by that thing. That's gonna be the Killer Instinct. And it was not enough.
Yeah, it was a very close little interaction there in the bot lane, but I think at one point Value took a tower shot, and that was what really did it. Also, Value had heal for that exchange. If he presses his heal, he probably wins that, so kind of rough. The one thing is the mid lane fight was lost from Maryville. They do get a trade kill onto Kind, so he at least gets a little bit of gold in his pocket. That's nice.
Yeah, it really is, but with that lead, it now raises up to a 2,000 gold lead in favor of UT Dallas. The problem is that if you want to snowball and prevent this scaling, you kind of have to be a little bit better paced than that. You kind of have to have more. A lot of this is coming from Kind Jungle and Nile specifically over-aggressing in these fights, and they can't rely on that for much longer.
No, they can't, but the other big thing is that Niles is behind in his itemization right now. He had to rush Hexdrinker, and now he has the wave clear from Static Shift, but he still has no IE. He doesn't have tons of AD behind his damage. So if you rush immediate Static Shift into Infinity Edge at this point in the game, ooh, nice
Yeah, now
cancel there.
they might be trying to chase after YHW. Cosmic Binding absolutely does not hit. So with that, you still have to worry about another thing. Hybrids has been just solo farming in the top lane the entire game.
That is something that's at least that's the most concerning part of this for me, is that despite all of the success that UT Dallas has had, they have not had any success whatsoever shutting down hybrids in any fight for the most part. It took
And
Alistair
now
that Unite
Value
ultimate.
gets caught, but that is actually a great Tempered Fate. Value
but-
still dies, but it makes it last a lot longer. Gives Maryville time to respond. Will they be able to get it out here? That's gonna... No, there is no explosive cast coming out for some reason.
Yeah, I think they're just afraid of what can come out on the backside of that fight. So because they had Shady, Niles, and Kind there's no hybrids near them to be able to fight. So if they throw a good cask and Niles actually is able to get all 5 members, they might get a fight there that goes their way. But if they miss even 1 or 2 people there, that fight goes very poorly because Niles probably just gets chunked out. So instead of opting for that kind of low or high risk, high reward play, they're just going to not take it. They're going to give up what they need to.
Yeah, and right there we did see Hybrid start to push out, but actually abandoned before the tower. So it didn't really net them anything, but it did net the side of UT Dallas a second tower, as you said, in the mid lane. Both bottom towers are gone. The mid lane tower is gone for Maryville, and then the top lane for UTD are all gone. But the map is open for one team, and it isn't open for the other.
If that is the case, The one thing that I'm also noticing is it's 20 minutes in. It's about a 2,500 gold. Actually, it's closer to 3,000 gold now. But for all of the advantage, for all of the positive fights we've seen from UT Dallas, to me, 3.5 gold, like or 3,000 gold, doesn't sound like enough of an advantage. Like I said, I've been seeing them bully this roster off pretty much the entire game, and they're still not massively ahead. They're not like 5,000, 10,000 gold ahead at this point. Here's
And
a
oh,
fight.
that's gonna be Novabot hit up by the Steel Tempest. Let's see what happens from this fight. Lunarly does hop right onto Kind Jungle. He's gonna get popped there. Sharp now into the fight. Niles running away. Can they escape? It doesn't look like it, as Sharp has the blades to cut them up to pieces, but he's the Johns who takes all of the kills. Shady trying to run. Can he get out? Yeah, he actually does manage to stun up Sharp, and this could be the Baron for the side of UT Dallas.
Quite a bit of damage was sustained by Sharp. They could go for this Baron here. It's very early, but I think they do have the damage. Yeah, the Ezreal, the Camille, they have plenty there.
And speaking of which, that's a lot of damage from the Camille, and that's going to be the Vard gone.
Yeah, that's one down. They do have Gragas back, and Yasuo is still up, both of which have their ultimates. So if Kind Jungle is able to get here fast enough, this could be a good play for them.
Yeah, but look at where Lunarly is. He's playing defense.
Yeah.
Look like that's going to be a Steel Tempest to the face for his troubles. The Ignite goes down, but so does the Baron Nashor.
Yeah. Really impressive. Lunarly, as you said, kind of playing that defender, making sure the Baron goes smoothly, and they have plenty of damage to work with it. They have the Ezreal, they have the Kali, a lot of spammable abilities in their kits to be able to take the Baron quickly. It's looking really clean from UT Dallas. They're starting... where this game, I think, is won or lost, though, is right here. This first Baron, if they're able to break a tower, 2 towers, get a lot more of a gold lead, that's when they can secure it. But if this goes poorly for them, if they lose their Baron buff and don't really have much more of a gold lead, it's going to be a lot rougher as this game progresses. The Yasuo starts to scale, the Kai'Sa starts to scale.
Also, this Baron isn't as influential as you would think. Mostly because of the fact that every single member of Maryville who's designed to do any sort of wave clearing does AD damage.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, does physical damage. So yeah. it clears Baron minions better than does magic damage. It doesn't... They don't... the minions don't get that innate resistance like they do against ability power.
Yeah, it's a nice place to at least have quite a bit of accessible wave clear. Now, this is, I think, a mistake.
Yeah, it looks like now this is going to be a push into the mid lane in response for the death of Lunarly, who's still taking a lot of time to take down. This is going to be a mid lane tier 2 taken down for that one kill. I would not call that worth, as now Niles and Kind Jungle having to back. Value's here trying to defend all on his own, but he can't. He simply can't.
Gangplank's actually flanking around the side. They still have Bard ultimate. Oh, actually, Bard ultimate was used, so the Barrow's the only thing they have to use here. GP ultimate's down. Oh, nice ultimate.
Oh, that was a good ultimate there. Pulling him back in. Now Sharp in the backside does take down Kind Jungle. Niles takes a chunk. The wind wall, it helps out, but it won't be able to do nearly enough. As no, now he's actually dancing around the fight. He could get a lot of damage down. Niles is still alive. That's going to be another Steel Tempest here. Value's going ham, and Maryville have somehow pulled it out of their ass.
Yeah. Another really good engage there from the Yasuo to be able to buy some time. Kai'Sa and Gangplank do quite a bit of damage on their own. That's another kill for Value as well. Shutdowns all over the place. All that gold going into the pockets. Yeah, that was a massive swing in terms of gold. Now this Kai'Sa is sitting, I think, with the most in the game. After just that one fight, now it's going to pick up this turret as well. This is what you needed for Maryville. They tried. They kept fishing for fights, fishing for something, and they're finally able to catch a break. Lunarly probably going to jump on a Niles here. Nope, not going to commit for it.
I mean, also, I think Niles did have the Steel Tempest charged up, so that would have been a fight into a potential last breath. I'm not sure that they timed the cooldown there in the middle of the fight, so...
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, again, but this is what you didn't want from the side of UT Dallas. Like I said, they needed to play safe and just try to push down a couple of towers, try to get some more advantage, and then just compound it into more that they can use on the map. But instead, they over-aggress, try to push too far. They do get the inhibitor turrets, but that's not worth it. They lost all of their Baron, lost all their pressure, and it's only a 2,000 gold lead now for the side of UT Dallas.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that you had before is that Niles wasn't online yet.
Hmm.
I see 2.5 items here, so I see an online Yasuo. That's going to be the Steel Tempest whiffing, but now the Explosive Cask will set up the last breath. And look in the mid lane, though. Value is in...
Nice.
Oh, no, he's just absolutely cut down here. They're going to try and back in time, see if they can stop the inhibitor from falling, but I don't think they're going to be able to here.
Yeah, I don't know that they do. And actually, I think Maryville knows that as well. So Niles didn't leave bot lane, or top lane, my apologies. He's just going to push down for that tower. They might be able to stall backs long enough. In fact, a Fire could come out. Hybrids
Yeah,
look for some more.
remember that there is no Impale available, so Niles... I mean, we said it before the game. My mentor returned. Love to say it every time you casted this man. Niles ends games, and if you're not careful, that split push will do exactly that.
Yeah, the Akali coming back, thankfully, so doesn't have to worry about that kind of thing. But and honestly, like pushing for that. So in terms of pure advantage gained from taking the inhibitor, all they get is map pressure. There is no gold like coming out from just taking an inhibitor straight. So they need to be able to use it to try to apply pressure to other points on the map. And right now, I think they're having some difficulty doing that rather than just like running it down mid with 4 members and using that like just pure brute strength to force down the mid inhibitor. They haven't shown much else.
And look at this
between
fight here. Lunarly taking it to Hybrids. Taking a lot of damage of his own, though. And now, that's going to be an explosive cast. That's the last breath. That's the John's already dead. And now, YHW, that's some premium grade A beef. Niles brought the knife. Value ended the cow's life.
Yeah. That's another good Dr. Seuss rhyme right there. You're doing good with those this series.
Oh, I didn't even intend that one. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good, yeah. Anyway, yeah, the intention here, so they know having Gangplank on the bottom side of the map is going to force Camille to stay there. She has a lot of engage for this team, a lot of solo damage for this team. Oh, here comes
Here goes another fight, and that Skarner not going to be as effective this time. Tempered Fate only hits Kind Jungle because the Crystal Scorpion's already dead. And now Niles, no fear on the Yasuo. We've talked about solo queue Yasuos. Niles is basically if a solo queue Yasuo had challenger level mechanics.
This is absolutely nuts. Niles just flowing through that fight like a stream, just slaying everything in his path. There's nothing that can stop him right now. And again, this is all from the defensive itemization. At the beginning of the game, he didn't have much in terms of damage to combine with Kind Jungle. They were struggling to find some of these skirmishes. But now Niles can almost do it on his own. The Infinity Edge, the Static Shiv, and then now also Hex Drinker, QSS for the Skarner so he can't get ulted, and a BF sword coming through as well. It's not, this Yasuo is starting to look very, very mean.
Yeah, again, we talked about about it early game. That was another rhyme I made. That if Maryville scales, UTD fails. Well, right now, they're weighing up because they have the scaling.
They scale it, yeah. That's what's happening. Yeah, not only is it the Yasuo, but the Kai'Sa is starting to get some of these AP itemizations. QSS tax paid finally. Gragas has the QSS tax paid. And then, of course, Gangplank doesn't need to because of the oranges. So the only one without a QSS. Yeah.
Speaking of which, though, he might not be K right here. Hybrid's taking a lot of damage. The baby cage put down. Lunarly gonna win the 1v1 once again.
Yeah, this is where I think the main advantage from UT Dallas really exists. In this split push, they are the ones with the Camille. They're the ones with the insanely strong split pusher. He needs to be able to apply this kind of pressure, consistently kill hybrids, and then also get towers, get objectives off of it. We saw this from Maryville last time. They had the Camille. They were able to play a Baron Darrence. Death Brush. It's really far back, though.
It's the Fnatic Death Brush.
Really far back.
Really far back, but they have no idea where they are. They don't know. And also, Hybrids comes up in 15 seconds. There is a teleport available for the Camille, but now, look at that. The Explosive Cast actually doesn't hit anybody, but Novabot is already so low. He's probably going to die here, and this is going to be the Ignite down onto Niles. That's a killing spree for Lunarly. Both junglers are dead. Value got 2 kills, and now it's Maryville trying to run away. Niles has taken so much damage. The last breath going to help it do absolutely nothing. Lunarly kills him. So that's a 2 for 2 across the map. I'll say across both sides. Now Lunarly jumped straight into his death here. He's going to get slid up probably. Oh, Hybrids takes a chunk! Sharp doing his best work, but that's a double kill for Shady there.
Yeah, well done from Shady, making sure that his top laner feels at least a little bit protected. The battle support ensuring that these divers get nothing in response. after what was a really good play start there. They were played very, very apart and separate so they could make sure not to get hit by a Cask and a Yasuo engagement. And it worked out for them very, very easily. Yasuo got stuck in the back of the pit. They had at least an even trade, and the Baron was at least close to their favor, but they just overextend trying to kill the Gangplank. Not enough. They're starting to fail. Again, these champions are scaling. You see Bard's damage, you see Gangplank's damage, and then Yasuo, Kaisa. It's getting hard to deal with for these divers. They have to try to play to their advantage. Again, I don't think you want to see Lunarly in the fight most of the time, but now he has no TP, so he can't apply that same kind of split push. Bro.
Yeah, and I think it's really funny the fact that we just said Bard's damage and we're completely serious about it.
I mean, he's got Electrocute, he's got a Proto Belt here of all things, and then he has the Redemption as well for some utility in the Ignite. I mean, honestly, I don't see him being even so he should be as the support, at least bottom 2 in the damage charts. I don't know that he's even bottom 5 in the damage charts. He might be up there right now.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if he has dealt more damage than Kind Jungle or Novabot.
I would not be shocked by that in the slightest at all. No.
It's just that Bard is just... His name may be shady, but that man is scary.
Yeah, it really is. Honestly, if you want a bold prediction, I bet he does more damage than Sharp by the end of the game.
Ooh, that's rough.
Bold prediction, yeah. It's not a knock on Sharp. It's just the damage from Shady and all the kills he's accrued and given him so much gold. So
Maryville might be caught out here. There is a flank on from the side of UT Dallas, but they did not collapse on it. Instead, chose to pay respect to the Yasuo, the power that Niles can bring to a fight.
Yeah, Rabadon's also completed for value here, so he is in an intensely strong state with this AP Kai'Sa build. QSS hasn't been completed into a Mercurial, but he's at basically
value.
Full.
The bait was there, and now so is Lunarly. The thing is, will he die? Oh, what the hell? Where'd the damage come from onto Niles? That's going to be the Steel Tempest getting absolutely nobody. Hybrids, that's 2 people shut down already. Value and Niles are dead. That's the major players gone. Hybrids is 2. Now it's just the support, and then now it's just the jungle. Triple kill for Sharp. I think your prediction might be off, my friend.
Yeah.
Also, I don't get the teleport.
Always has to ruin my predictions here, but yeah, they're gonna go to bot lane because they have the minion wave pushing up here. It looked like a catch out, like you said. Value kind of baited literally to jumping in, but he can stall it out long enough. That adaptive shield coupled with the ultimate gives him just enough time for the rest of his team to come in. You saw Sharp come in, John's hit him with quite a bit of CC, and Novabot running in to ultimate Yas or Niles and prevent this Yasuo from trying to pop off in this fight ahead of time. He burnt his QSS and they still killed him before he got any significant damage off. Yeah, they can't end right here, but 2 inhibitors with the Baron up is a crippling blow. The question is, do they have to back before they're actually able to take that Baron, or is this fight potentially still in the being able to be taken by Maryville here?
I think Maryville still needs to scale up a little bit more. I'm not...
Like at this point, I don't know if it's the scaling at all between either of these teams. It's just how it's playing out, and it kind of looks like whichever team is the proactive one, the one getting the engagement, or at least the cleaner engagement off to start with, is the one that's winning. We've seen that time and time again. When it's Yasuo or Gragas hitting it, they're doing well. This is a great back timing advantage. They got to get back to the pit on the side of UT Dallas.
Yeah, those 3 teleports coming in extremely handy, and they can't get back in time. They have to get out now, though, or UT Dallas will absolutely destroy them here. I don't know that they have enough flashes. That's going to be Niles taken so low. He's going to go down probably here. Hybrids dies. Niles next. Does pop GA, but now it's a 3v5. Even with Baron, I think that's the game.
Yeah, they have no wave clear, or at least they don't have 2 of their massive wave clears. They still have this. Actually, Bard has decent wave clear. Kind Jungle has a little bit. Value has quite a bit. But there's only 3 of them with 2 inhibitors down. They have waves coming in mid and bottom lane. But honestly, I think UT Dallas has to win it right here. It's going to be super hard to win it in any other scenario. They got to work through these Baron minions fast.
Yeah, and unfortunately for them, they don't have too much wave clear compared to that side of Maryville. That's going to be a 3-man hook shot stun! Oh my god! Kind Jungle could not even help Value to save his own life there. That's 1 tower gone. That's going to be... That was a perfect tempered fate, but Sharp is unstoppable, and it doesn't even matter. That's going to be UT Dallas bringing it to Game 3.
Exceptional. Right there from Sharp and Lunarly. They communicated perfectly what needed to happen. Both of the divers, that's what I said the threat was. In terms of the late game, if you have the counter engage, you gotta dive. You gotta hit somebody with the Camille, with the Akali, and that's exactly what they did. They found the priority targets necessary for it to happen. Phenomenal work from those two to win this game. This was such a close game too, and it just came down to those two executing flawlessly.
It absolutely did. And guys, wow, we're going to game 3 here. That is
Mhm.
not a statement I thought I would say at the beginning of the night. And that's no offense to UT Dallas. It's just the sheer presence of Maryville. And now we're seeing it. We're gonna
Mhm.
go to game 3. And now we're gonna swap over to really quickly to see what those damage charts are, and we will take a look. Yeah, he's number 4th from the bottom instead of bottom 2.
Fourth one, it's about him. Yeah. Now, in fairness, honestly, like most of the game, Sharp wasn't contributing massively to the team fights. If I want to look at the graph, I don't think I can access it. But if you could see the graph of his
Check the
damage,
stream.
I bet the last 10 minutes of that game, he got the majority of that damage off. Is what I'm.
Um, Let me see if there is something for damage over time. I don't think I can see that from the
Yeah.
client.
That's the problem. Is I don't think you can get it from the client. You can get it in like the web browser, but I don't know that I'm allowed to see their game from the web browser
No,
if
we are
I'm just
not.
spectating. So,
That's why
like I
if
said,
you
if you
are
look at the
watching here from
damage
the
chart,
UPL, guys, remember to put that link in, or else I'm gonna chew out your managers for the next week. Just know that. And if you're the managers, you've been warned. So, with that in mind, we're now going to go to game 3. You have to imagine the mental has to reset, but with that in mind, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back, and guys, we're going to cue the kind of, but not really, but kind of silver scrapes. We'll see you then.
oh lord.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, here for the climactic Game 3 between Maryville University and the University of Texas, Dallas. Once again, Hypertension, Rebel Fox, you know who we are. And if you haven't been watching, welcome to the stream. You missed a banger of a match.
Yeah, game one, really, really clean from the side of Maryville. They looked exactly as dominant as we expected, and almost a surprising game two from UT Dallas, playing exactly how they needed to take the win over Maryville. Stepping into game three, I mean, the challenge is there. They've stepped up to the plate. It's up to Maryville to make the difference.
Yeah, right now we do have sort of a tie. I would say we have a tie game, but we have some interesting developments, ladies and gentlemen. Wolf is now in the mid lane. Wolfie in the mid lane for Maryville, which puts Niles back in his native top lane. So the roster is now Niles, Iconic, Wolfie, Value, and Shady.
Yeah, no more playing around. The respect is here from the side of Maryville, ready to bring out the big guns up against UT Dallas to show full force what it is that they can do. So it's gonna be a very good match here.
It absolutely is. And you have to imagine if there are any picks that do get taken away, Camille has to be a priority.
hmm Yeah, Camille has been good for both Lunarly, and then it was also really good for, of course, the opposing top laner, the one who was subbed out was,
Hybrids.
yeah, hybrids. Yeah, my apologies, but yeah, both of them prioritized the Camille very, very heavily, and they did great with it. So that's either going to be priority here for both sides, or maybe UT Dallas wants it off the board. Whoever wants to take their top laner first, they're going to play chicken with it.
Right now they are playing chicken with these picks right here. Morgana, of course, one of the most powerful supports in the game, one of the only ones that can contest, the engaged support meta that we have established. These two dominant top laners for Niles, now that they know he's in the top lane, they're like, okay, respect.
That they will. They've actually banned out both of those champions. Well, they banned out the Gragas game one, but game two, Renekton Club were their two bans. Skarner gets subbed in as well. Yeah, Zaya. The game bans are exactly the same for UT Dallas as they were last game. What?
Don't hover that.
Don't hover Teemo, yeah.
Don't hover
the
that.
Fear is always there. Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Don't hover that trash. Get this off of my stream.
Just a little bit of fun having here. Kiana locked in immediately, and Wolfie just saying, it's my turn to play the Kiana to Sharp.
Yeah, right now, Sharp did get the chance to show off his skills on Kiana in game one, and honestly, it was good. It's just that Maryville as a whole was better.
If that is the case, yeah, the combination between the Kiana and the Cannon was absolutely gorgeous from UT Dallas. Wolfie wants to, kind of flex on Sharp a little bit and see if he can do any better.
Have to see if he can do better, and he's going to get to do it on that Akali that he showed his stuff on in game two.
If that is the case. The question also is, again, you can flex it between top and mid lane a little bit. It's still pretty good flex pick. I think also after the changes, it's personally to me, it's a lot better in the top lane except for maybe a handful of matchups in the mid lane that it's good with. So I'd like to see it at least kind of prioritize for that position. Ash taken as well for UT Dallas, another high priority pick.
Yeah, and part of that is, honestly, I did not feel the Ashe was that impressive. I very much like the John's Ezreal a lot more, and I think that, in my opinion, his best champion is his Lucian, but Lucian is not the strongest place right now compared to some of these other AD carries, so I can see why they're investing in the Ashe. But you leave the Lucian up, and now you have Lucian Pike for Value and Shady.
Ezreal Pike.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Ezreal Pike. Why did I say Lucian? Ezreal Pike, yes.
Lucian on the mind. Yeah, it's a lot harder so Ashe can land poke on Ezreal, but it's a lot harder to capitalize on the slows that come out from the Ashe autos onto the likes of Ezreal and Pike. Pike also has that sustain that comes through from the poke from the Comet Ashe, so not a terrible bot lane. Is susceptible to engage, though. The ultimates coming out from Ashe, combined now with the Braum ultimate as well. It's pretty much a death sentence for either the Pike or the Ezreal if they get tagged by it. So they have to play a little more careful. Game one, they had that kind of tankier bot lane. They had the Vigar and the Nautilus. It's very difficult to engage onto those two, kind of bullied the Ashe out of the laning phase. I think now the Ashe has a lot easier of a laning phase to play into the likes of Ezreal Pike.
Yeah, we are seeing right now that UT Dallas has drafted themselves a Glacial Assassin comp. We'll see how that works out, because whenever I play TFT, that comp sucks.
Yeah, this isn't TFT. We don't play TFT here. This is League of Legends, good old standard style. None of that nonsense that everybody's been infatuated with recently.
Yeah, I mean, the hype has fallen off a little bit, but here we are. The Gragas band coming out, trying
Yeah.
to get that away from Iconic because, I mean, I hate to make a pun here on this one because of how easy it
Oh
is, so I'm
goodness.
not going to. That is his most famous jungle pick here, is Iconic's Gragas. He's very robust on the champion, always is where he needs to be, and it's just great at making plays on it.
That he is. The one thing that's left up right now is actually the Echo. For being such a high priority pick, high strength pick right now in the meta, I'm surprised it's actually fallen this far. Wouldn't shock me to see Maryville take it out. If it does happen and Echo's the ban, no, instead it's the Yorick pick taken away.
Yeah,
So
the
yeah, Echo's on the
Yorick,
board here
yeah.
if UT Dallas wants to play it.
There, I say Echo is available, as you said. It would leave them without a really good way to start the fight. The Skarner ban absolutely denies what was a very good pick from Novabot. But I'm struggling to see what is going to start off this fight because the Enchanted Crystal Arrows, to me, left little to be desired from the Johnson game one.
Ooh. Okay, so this does actually confirm. So UT Dallas Sharp plays a lot of Lux. It's a very comfortable champion. It's one of his most played recently. That locks Akali to top lane. I have an inkling of something that could be played in the jungle, but it's kind of out there. We'll see. I want to see what Maryville takes first to see if it's not a bad
If he
matchup.
spams the luck, the laugh, I turn off games down. Just warning you, audience.
Please spam the laugh. Everybody in the audience, ask him. Say, Sharp, spam the laugh. Sharp, spam the laugh. I'm going to have a chat going in the background.
I
Okay.
will. Don't do it. I
Let's do
can
this.
mute you too.
Okay. This is really, really strange. So because of the Jarvan pick, it's really good to engage and set up for the likes of like Gangplank, the AoE, Kiana, the AoE. You basically have a small engage radius designed for the Kiana, but they are mostly a attack damage, especially with the nerfs Asriel's patch. I'd like to see Malphite. I really would.
Nope.
Now, Nunu's
Well,
not
remember, it
coming
was the
through yet.
jungler who was available.
Yeah, that.
Oh, then it should have been
I think
Rammus.
Malphite could have worked. Yeah, Rammus would have been good too. I think Malphite is a really good jungler right now. Pretty good when it comes to like doing that thing. But yeah, Nunu took a few nerfs, but nothing that's knocked him out of the meta whatsoever. We don't usually see it in competitive play. I think it's a little harder to pull off than some things, but I'm happy to see it if it's played at a high level. It's one of my favorite champions, actually.
I think it's mostly because of Nunu's inability to make off a proper gank. It's so telegraphed that a Nunu gank is coming. It's really hard to do this.
Yeah, it's a little
also,
bit more.
Whoever picked it Nunu in chat, you were
Yeah,
right. You had me. I wasn't believing it.
In fairness, that's an expectation that came from the Glacial Assassin company. So like that was an extension of that. Still great prediction there from the chat. As you said, it's a little bit forward. It's a little bit obvious to see Nunu Danks coming. But I think apart from that, it's actually an exceptionally good champion. It does a lot of things right. It's got good sustain, great CC. It ganks early. It clears very well. There's a lot of really good strengths about the Nunu pick. Like you said, the really big thing is it's predictable. But if you play it in the right way, it has a lot of strength for Novabot. So I'm excited to see what he can do with this champion.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I'm also very interested to see this Lux.
Into the likes of Kiana. Yeah, it's going to be...
Don't like this champion, but I'm interested in seeing it.
Sharp is a very good Lux player from what I can tell as well. So, like I said, Sharp's been one of my favorite to watch in this series so far. So seeing him on something comfortable is going to be nice.
I would also like to point something else out. There's no real tank on the Comets.
There's no tank on the Comets?
UT Dallas Comets.
UT Dallas. Yeah, I mean, Braum soaks damage pretty well. Nunu Willem soaks damage. Nunu Willem is like very clearly almost a drain tank with the Q healing. You get insane Q healing. Not to mention, you can stall for damage with the likes of the Akali W. So, you know, she's not just tanking autos constantly. She can stall a little bit in the back line. Lux shield. There's plenty of damage soak on their side. They don't need just a full-on tank. Jarvan's the only real tank also on the side of Maryville. So it's not like they've drafted this like huge beefy frontline composition themselves.
Yeah, and that is going to be dangerous when you have ultimates like I say Akali's perfect execution, like the final spark setup from the side of UT Dallas, and then the big one, the highest ratio in the game, not counting Misfortune's ultimate, absolute 0 for that Nunu of Novabot.
I thought Annie's ultimate had the highest ratio in the game because it stacks infinitely.
Wait, what?
Doesn't Tibbers stack infinitely if it gets close to somebody? Isn't that how Annie's ultimate works?
Oh no, that I'm talking about like highest raw ratio. I'm not talking about like
Oh, highest
the
potential
stacking by
ratio.
like sticking next to somebody now.
Oh, I got it.
Because
Okay.
like that 250% on absolute zero is the
Oh,
highest,
it's nuts. It's
unless
nuts.
you're
Yeah.
counting bullet time as a whole, because the amount of waves stacking up does surpass absolute zero.
Yeah, that it does. It's pretty good ultimate. Again, you don't expect it to also be like a Runic Echoes Nunu. Most likely it's going to be more of like a support slash tank Nunu. But I mean, I've seen some builds like that work pretty commonly.
Yeah, we'll have to see, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going to go to a short break. No ad read this time. We'll see you when we get right back here at Upsurge Premier League for the final game between Maryville and UT Dallas. We'll see you then. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, here on to Summoner's Rift. It looks like it is going to be game 3 between UT Dallas and Maryville University. Right now, we are so excited to get to this game 3. I did not expect the words game 3 to come out of my mouth tonight.
Mhm. Yeah, it certainly wasn't an expectation from I think most people, but it's been an amazing set of games so far, and yeah, we still have one to play, so likely a lot more League of Legends to be watched here from both sides. Take
Absolutely. And given the fact that we have this moment of peace, this moment of tranquility, why don't we talk about something that isn't tranquil, Lux's laugh, and how Kiana can smash it?
how Kiana can just make sure that Lux is gray screen so she can't laugh and spam the laugh emoji all game.
Hopefully.
Uh, So Kiana does a lot of damage in the early game when you're able to get a couple of Qs off. The one thing is her range isn't exceptionally high, even with the amount of mobility she brings to the table. So Sharp has the ability to zone off Wolf. The other thing is when you're able to rush a Ludens on Lux, the wave clear that comes from the potential of Lux, it just keeps Kiana at bay at least. You have to play your spacing if you're Sharp, and I know that he knows how to do it, having played Lux enough. So the question is, how can Wolf position himself to get aggressive on a Sharp, slash how can Iconic set up this lane so that he can get ganks off very easily? It's going to be difficult one way or another, but Lux is immobile, doesn't have is relatively squishy champion just in general. So if Kiana gets on top of her, it's going to be very hard for them to deny the kill on a Shark.
And right now, Lunarly trying to take on Niles, but you forget, one of the strongest points for Gangplank is his level 1 when he has that parlay, when he's got, I just totally forgot the name of the passive. Trial by Fire.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Remembering passive names is one of my least favorite parts about
Oh, it's awesome.
Oh, it's so hard to remember passive names. I can't remember them ever, but you're right. Yeah, level 1, the trading ability with that Trial by Fire, with, as you said, the parlay, you could cancel your auto attack basically. It's really, really difficult to deal with for the likes of Lunarly. Ooh, more poke.
You tried it there. It drug you on a little bit long on that one.
I give it a shot every once in a while, but yeah, the Kiana.
I mean, leave the shots to Niles.
Leave the shots to Niles.
But now, as you said, the Kiana took a chunk there. Right now, Wolf is having to sort of respect the range that Sharp has. Until the Kiana gets her abilities, this isn't the easiest sort of setup right now. But look at YHW. Got hooked by the Bone Skewer. Had to eat a tower shot for his efforts.
That he did. Thankfully, he was able to step out of tower range at the last second before he got stunned up there, so didn't take 2 or even a third potentially. Could have been a lot worse there for YHW, able to walk out from that situation. So
yeah, now Niles could actually be in a lot of trouble. Has to pop parlay. Has not popped the orange yet, but is going to have to respect the damage a little bit more at this point, because now that Akali's at level 3.
Yeah,
the Akali. Look, come out, Bone Skewer. See, hook lands onto YHW, but the Essence Flux does not.
Yeah, really, really nice shield there, waiting to the last moment there for YHW to make sure that that gets broken.
Here comes
coming
biggest snowball ever! It still hits value, but it's not going to get anything more than that. Just a little bit of damage. It does not even, doesn't chunk him out low enough to really potential kill.
Yeah, that was still incredibly impressive. It was nice snowball direction, knowing where value was going to jump. If there was follow-up there, I think it was going to be relatively easy to kill value, but knowing that the Braum and the Ashe were further back in the laning phase and that Nunu couldn't really walk much further, value felt perfectly safe holding on to his flash. Actually, doesn't even look like he got damaged there in the end, so.
Yeah, right now, it really does amount to
this
Nunu trying to gank again, but Wolf with the dancing shoes slips right behind him. Thank you.
Yeah, but this is nice. You want to see this from the Nunu. He's able to use this W pretty consistently. It's a low cooldown and a very high impact ability if you can get it, procced easily. So, you just got to keep throwing him out there. He cleared fast. He was ahead of camp on the Jarvan before he started ganking. So, keep that up if you're Nova Buy. At very minimum, you have to keep them on their toes and respecting the biggest snowball ever from you. That opens up the map at least a little bit for the rest of your team. Q1 to the Kiana, preventing the back from Wolfie.
Now, right now, Wolfie wanting to back, not quite getting it. And we're seeing a very similar situation to last game, where the CS leads are starting to develop here for the side of Maryville.
And that they are. We got quite a bit of one. About 10 right now in the mid lane. The biggest one, though, is Niles, this top lane. The gangplank in both games has been basically free to farm with no real pressure applied quite yet. Novabot could come up here and try to look for aggression onto Niles, but with that biggest snowball ever with these barrels and the speed ups that he has, it is difficult to do.
Yeah, every time I think about that, I just want to think about it like back in TNA, Christopher Daniels with the best moonsault ever. And that's what I think of every time I think of that ability. Go, another Bone Skewer coming in. Looks like concussive blows will not stack up onto Shady. Biggest snowball ever coming in. but
Jarvan's
Niles
there
does
though.
have the orange, and here comes Iconic. Does look like Lunarly has to, you know, walk around, dance around. Lunarly does not get knocked up. Niles is able to shoot him there with the parlay. One more attack will do it, and that's going to be Niles picking up first blood for the side of Maryville. Novabot now in no man's land. Iconic's a level down, but he is a Jarvan.
Oh.
That's the cannon barrage. That's the kill. Iconic picks him up.
Yeah,
Now in the
one
bottom
extra
lane,
minion there for
YHW
Niles.
taking shots.
Yeah, that one extra minion there from the side of Niles, getting him to level 6, and they immediately regress onto Novabot. If he hadn't gotten that, would have been pretty easy for Novabot to just walk out of that, but the slow and the damage coming out from the Gangplank ultimate was just enough so that Iconic could follow up. Great counter gank there. Knowing where Novabot was going to try to end up, he ganked all 3 lanes, wasn't successful in any of them so far.
Yeah, thus far we are seeing that those ganks, again, new ganks are a little bit just telegraphed.
Yeah, it's difficult to try to deal with. Biggest snowball ever coming into the bot lane here.
Yeah, the thing is, he has the angle this time. I think he can get out, but that's going to be the stunning dash to get away. Shady hooks him back in, but he is right into Novabot's face. Now that's a lot of damage. Novabot's going to burn to death. Shady with the flame coming out, able to take down the jungler of UT Dallas. Here comes the hook. Bone Skewer. Shady's burning himself, but the thing is, will he survive? The answer is no.
Yeah, really good start there. The Ignite coming out onto the Nunu to make sure the healing can't come through whatsoever to protect him. And then Value hit, I think, all of his skill shots to make sure that the damage would go through just enough for that last tick of Ignite to kill him. Then just a little bit of over-aggression from, I think it was Shady, to try to pull the Braum, just gets stunned up, ignited, and his healing doesn't proc either. Really unfortunate for that.
Yeah. And again, I'd like to turn it back to the pace of the game right here for the side of UT Dallas. And I think it's not a problem with Novabot. It's a problem with the pick. And the Nunu pick, as we're seeing here, it's so telegraphed that it gets exploited like this. Novabot eats the supreme display of talent. Now Iconic coming in, he does have the Cataclysm, has chosen not to use it yet until he is right at that HP to take down Novabot. This is going to be probably a kill there. The Israel ultimate comes in, doesn't do enough. Sharp swaps jungler for jungler, and now it looks like everybody's just going to walk away.
Yeah, again, the problem is, like I said, with the Nunu, not only is it just telegraphed, but the problem is once a Nunu has gone too far, it's just not able to get anything done for it. Like he's not able to get anything done once he's inside. When he has his ultimate readily available, as you said, it's high scaling, does a pretty decent amount of base damage, and the slow's gonna be big. Shady gets an angle on the Johns.
Yeah, it does get the angle, but he does not have enough damage quite yet.
It has to burn his flash, though, to get out of the situation. So the next time Shady has the hookup, could be dangerous for the Johns to jump in, especially when Shady hits level 6.
Yeah, when you hit level 6's Pike, that's when the fun starts.
Yeah, you can instill the fear of God within just about every ADC, not being able to walk up and touch their own lane out of fear of being hooked and killed to give gold over to not only the Pike, but also to the ADC on the other side.
Yeah, and it really is going to develop over the course of the game that death from below is so dangerous. You have to respect it.
That you do. The Gangplank zoning out the Akali pretty well up here, getting a turret plate for himself. Oh, by Nasa. Oh,
that's a lot of damage onto Lunarly, who, I mean, we've talked about Niles' Gangplank. Why it is feared. Why everybody respects it.
And it's
we're
not
seeing
even
why in
just
this
like...
game.
And it wasn't even just his Gangplank. Like, his Gangplank is very clearly very good, but like UT Dallas has not played around the Gangplank pick whatsoever. It happened last game too, that the Gangplank was pretty much able to free farm. I can't half their health bar apiece just to the one Lux combo. Oh, here's the biggest snowball ever. Not gonna mean anything though.
He tried to drift, but unfortunately he just wasn't good enough for the gas.
Yeah, not Scion, not in Tokyo, not able to get anything done there.
You just made 3 different drift references and none of them were his ear.
Grazing though. Yeah, free Dragon though. Good here for the side of Nova, or my apologies, not Nova. Yeah, Nova bot. Maryville should be able to get this one pretty freely. It's gonna help the Ashe. She needs more mobility if she can help it. Gonna help the Akali when she's in the backline, things of that sort. But not the most impactful Drake, at least for this composition to start with.
Yeah, and right now, Arsenal and Maryville they do have a 3,000 gold lead, and a lot of it's coming from the top lane and the bottom lane. So
Yeah, that
like
it
that,
is.
they're gonna need that Cloud Drake to help out.
That they will. Rift Herald also now taken here for the Jarvan, so that's a good
Where that's
response.
going.
Top lane.
Top lane.
Just constant pushing in for Niles. They're protecting this lane super, super well to make sure this Gangplank just gets everything he could ever want and
And
need
here we
sharp.
go. Bone Skewer going to land onto Sharp. The stun does not. But actually, that stun does onto the Rift Herald. Will Shelly be able to kill the tower plates? Not quite. Actually, there's a little bit of tower plating left. But Niles, now it's running away. Absolute zero. The knockup actually disrupted it. Lunarly taking a lot of damage, as is Iconic here. That's going to be Final Spark actually missing. White W is getting targeted out here. But now it's Shady in No Man's Land. That's 2 kills over to the side of UT Dallas to the 1 of Maryville.
Oh! Huge arrow from across the map hits Wolfie, forces his cleanse. He didn't use it. That was a very dead Wolf. Gets tagged by that with no cleanse, though.
I blinked and I missed it.
You blinked it. Yeah, I saw it. The arrow was coming in from across the map, and I was watching it, and it hits him, and he just immediately is like, oh, I got to cleanse. Good play there. They just actually prevented the top tower from going down, but 320 gold picked up from Niles before the fight started. A lot of defensive items picked up for Lunarly here. Nowhere near his gunblade at all. Kind of a rough situation for this Akali to be in.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure how that fight went so badly for Maryville. Like, Niles stuck around way too long at Koffar, and now Shady so aggressive, and it's he's got to be careful, or else this is gonna keep costing him his life every single time.
A little bit, yeah. So he went into that fight surprisingly with the ultimate first, so just to try to clear some space, and then tried to pull somebody back, but the rest of his team wasn't there for the follow-up, so he ended up getting punished for it pretty hard. If he had been a little more patient, I think they could have maybe looked to dive with his ultimate and just immediately kill. I think it was Lunarly that was really, really low, so they could have looked to punish Lunarly with the Pike ultimate.
And now, speaking of punishing, YHW was caught out a little bit, but they have the Nunu at their back, you know, with that giant 12-foot tall Yeti rolling a snowball that weighs about 2 tons.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So Lunarly keeps eating those parlays, and he does not have the damage yet to fight Niles, and he keeps trying it though. Now the Johns is in a lot of trouble. That's going to be True Shot Barrage landing. Ooh. Glacial Fissure trying to save the Johns, but it will not be enough. Biggest snowball ever! Absolutely misses.
Can't get anything. Ooh, Sharp getting aggressed on by Wolfie.
Here we go. That's the supreme display of talent. The SDT, and now Wolfie still dies to the minions. Twin Snakes die together.
That they do. Top lane Gangplank's pushing in. This tower is very close to going down, actually.
That is, and that's going to be the first brick over to the side of Maryville here. More tower plates falling one after another in the bottom lane right before they expire.
Yeah, very significant advantage being generated in these side lanes. The Gangplank is up about 2,500 gold on this Akali. Is just crazy. And then 1,700 gold lead for the Ezreal over the Ashe. So that's very, very steep mountain to try to climb. The one caveat is Lux, Siege Mage, has the advantage in the mid lane, can do some pretty good damage as long as she is given some space to work with.
It is not a significant deficit.
It's not.
Yeah, but there, I mean, overall, if you think about that situation as a whole, Wolfie and Sharp dying was probably the best situation that could have happened for Maryville, other than, you know, Wolfie living. Just because it allowed no response, allowed no help. But now Shady, speaking of help, he might need it here. But Wolfie's got the Johns once again. We missed the Q!
Very rare mistake there. Wolfie's been pretty clean with those most of the game, but finally misses one, and the John just gets to walk out of that situation freely.
Yeah, gets out scot-free for something he should have been dead to rights for.
A little bit rough to deal with, but should be okay. Again, he was able to push the ADC out.
Here we go, biggest snowball ever. It's trying to track into the Jarvan, but you don't really have any follow-up from there, whereas the Jarvan has the flag and drag to escape.
That he does. A little bit of pressure here. Niall's still in this top lane. I think he's just glued to this right now.
I think he's like, I think he's hit that like Gangplank meme of must get all the gold. I am committed to the art of farming.
Oh,
We
DP coming in
go.
from Gangplank. He's finally going to join this fight around the Baron. They're kind of trapped. Iconic gets
Yes,
caught
they
up.
are, but it is Iconic who gets popped first.
Ooh.
Shady goes down. Absolute Zero disrupted by the stun. Will it be enough? That's actually a death from below disrupted. So Novabot gets out alive. YHW goes down. Literally, he's an Akali, but he deals no damage right now. And it's the point where the freaking Pike deals more than him. That's another kill going over to value.
Yeah, the fight was not a terrible way to start there, but the problem is Sharp went down almost immediately, and then
He
right
doesn't have the
afterwards,
ultimate.
Johns goes down. Going that hook. They might actually wait around.
No,
For this.
wait, look! True Shot Brush! True Shot Brush!
Oh, not gonna use it. Yeah, it's a rough one. Yeah, so like I said, the beginning of that fight was really rough because Sharp and the Johns went down, so there's no real consistent damage or any damage for the most part coming through because of the defensive itemization from Lunarlay early. Like I said, in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that fight goes a lot differently if they're able to keep it pretty stagnant. But right now, you can't take fights like that. They're very, very low percentage here from the side of UT Dallas, and starting to look at least a little bit weary for them.
It is looking weary, and we looked at this Lux earlier. It has been good, but unfortunately it has a tendency to get picked off early in these fights.
Yeah, like I said, you have to position very, very carefully with it. Unfortunately, Sharp just got kind of surrounded without knowing it. They had champions coming from all angles to make sure they could engage onto Sharp. It was he walked up to try to punish Iconic, which he did in the end, but then he got engaged on by 3 different champions. You had Wolf there, Niles was on top of him, and then Shady was coming from the bottom right. So there's just nowhere for Sharp to go.
And you're absolutely right. There is nowhere for him to go, no hope for him to do.
Arrow.
And that arrow flies wide.
Like this. I don't even know. So they don't have vision in that brush. I'm not sure he even knew that
Still more
Iconic was
accurate than
there.
Cody Parkey.
Ooh, football references for the people in this chat.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry if you're from Chicago. You deserved that joke.
They deserve. The Chicagoans deserve that joke. That's mean. Just mean.
They can suck it up, just like how they will on the field. Yikes.
Ooh, all right.
Well, now that
Good
we're
try.
back to League of Legends, it looks like that there will be a tower taken in the bottom lane here by Wolfie in the next, I would say about 30 seconds. It's super low. He's got the AD, and there it goes.
Very good. Able to lock that one down for the team. Ash also is the one responding to Gangplank because of lane assignments at the moment. So, yeah, somehow Niles has still gotten away with only the one roam. Novabot.
We are seeing the fighting starting up in the jungle. Shady stuns up Novabot, but nothing else coming from it.
Ace.
Niles has
just
to
a flash
blow his
wall.
flash to get away there.
Yeah, really, really good. Shady actually pulls Lux. Not able to get anything though. Iconic!
There we go. Iconic does get snapped up by that light binding, but the final spark doesn't do enough damage with that MR he has.
There's arrows actually coming in.
I don't think they know. I don't think Lunarly knows how hosed he is. Oh, never mind. Shady's now the one who's hosed. They don't know now. They know.
No.
It's like Shady was like, I might have conned this too long, man. I might have conned it too long. But he absolutely did, and he's absolutely dead.
Yeah, what looks so originally it kind of looks like a collapse could have happened onto, as you said, Lunarlay, but then his team starts to back off slowly, and Shady said, "Guys, where are you? Why am I the only one grouping?" Fortunately, gets punished there in that jungle. Just a little overextended. Although being 9,000 gold up before 20 minutes into the game, he's allowed to make mistakes like that, allowed to fish for some of these. That was really terrible phrasing. So I apologize.
Lunarly with the Cutlass kill secure.
Yeah, pretty cool to see that. Just activated on the Bilgewater Cutlass to get that kill.
Yeah, I
Pretty
mean, it's just to steal the kill, you mean?
He needed it. He needs the gold.
Oh, he
gotta get
absolutely
that
does,
activated.
but so does the Johns.
Nah, the Johns didn't need it. He's fine. He's Ash. You gotta hit the arrows, but if he's hitting the arrows, he's fine. That's all he's needed for.
And it looks like right now, Niles has built Ninja Tabi for some reason.
And Niles has been Ninja Tabi. I assume it's
Oh,
a combination of the Ash and then the enhanced auto attacks coming out from Lunar Lay is what he's trying to get back from. Although, like I said, Merc Treads wouldn't be a terrible option either because of the slows coming out from Ash, and then also all of the CC that can come from Nunu.
Oh,
and all
that's
that.
going to be it. Final Spark does miss due to the cleanse, and now this is going to be a started up fight in the mid lane as Lunarly takes a lot of damage there, but is able to get back under it. Wolfie goes down to the bottom side. Nothing else able to respond here by the side of Maryville. Niles was waiting in a bush.
Yeah, it was a little strange right there. Okay.
I know, here we go. That's the flip. That's going to be the arrow landing only onto Iconic. Flag and drag to get out, but I don't think that the side of UTD is going to be able to pick up anything from that engage. There is a dragon spawning soon, and it is an Infernal Drake. But there is a Jarvan up with Cataclysm. There is the True Shot Barrage. There's still full health there. Wolfie will be up in less than 10 seconds, and I don't think that they quite have the damage to burst this dragon down.
I don't know. They might be fishing for a fight here before anything else happens.
There we go. The Johns is low.
Johns,
that's going to be the Barrel and the True Shot Barrage helping to take the Johns down super low. Here comes Wolfie from base trying to see what he can catch, whereas the side of UTD, they're being poked down. Let's see who will take this dragon. It looks like Lunarly goes in first. He's the first to blink, and that's going to be the first to die. Iconic dies first, but here comes a double kill from Wolfie on the backside. Now Novabot probably going to get him. Value trying to do damage, but that Nunu's way too damn tanky. Sharp now in the face of both bottom laners here, but the perfect light binding. You talked about it. This man knows how to play some Lux, and it looks like he's doing it to perfection there, and looks like Shady trying to escape out of here with the ever so slippery pike. Light binding, that's going to be Luminescence. That's going to be the 4 kills for Sharp.
So the big difference this time from UT Dallas as opposed to last time they had a fight. Last time Sharp was really far forward, Johns was really far forward, they went down very quickly. In this fight, the Johns was poked out, which was unfortunate, but if they had been healthier, the Sharp and Johns were relatively untouched for the majority of that fight. Kiana Wolfie had a pretty good start to that when he was able to get a decent flank onto the back line, punish the Johns specifically, but actually really, really impressive fight, keeping Sharp alive for the majority of that, able to finally dish out that damage, and the Nunu able to drain tank the way he should be. That's how fights need to play out for them if they want to continue to contest.
I talked about it before. How the Sharp is the new kid. Sharp is the new kid on the block, filling in now for I'm assuming the graduated XKC, and holy is Sharp filling in those shoes nicely.
Holy Sharp, I like that. Anyway, yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Dang it! I feel bad for that one.
Through all 3 games, it's been really, really clean for Sharp, and again, he's trying to put the team on his back here. Lux isn't the greatest late game carry of all time. A lot of her damage is super skill shot reliant, so it's a little bit difficult to always access that, but he is doing his damnedest to try, especially with like the John, the Braum, my apologies, the Ash, the Braum, and then the Nunu causing these slows, allowing him to these skill shots. There might actually be a sign of life here.
Might be a sign of life, but remember, Maryville is still up about 8,000 gold. I think Niles still wins this.
Niles wins this.
Oh, yeah, he's just destroying this fight. I think it's like, there we go. One more parlay will help deal the damage. Does dash back to that minion. But remember, Niles has teleport. Lunarly does it, and Lunarly also doesn't have any CC to help disrupt it. The Cannon Barrage just immediately chases them off the Baron.
Yeah, really, really nice. So it was a fun chicken dance that they actually just played. So we saw Lunarly was engaging in the bot lane, and he was able to prevent Niles from coming in. Niles is still split pushing on the bottom side, so, UT Dallas, they come in and they say, okay, well, we're going to challenge for Baron. They know if they drop the Gangplank ultimate that there's no way they stay on the Baron because they can contest, so they just stay on mid tower, and that's actually enough to push UT Dallas off of that Baron, and they're still able to get the objective mid lane and the one fight in the bottom lane with this Gangplank.
Yeah, and we talked about it. Like, how is this lead so much without even the game has been? Well, look at the CS, look at the towers. 4 towers to 0 for UT Dallas. And this game is seeming very much an echo of Game 1, where the bottom lane is losing, the top lane is, I would say, was losing, and overall, it's really, right now, Sharp having to try and put the team on his back, but I don't know with how far across the map that Maryville is able to spread that he can do it.
Yeah, the other fear is that, like, Gangplank has quite a bit of farm, and not only that, but he gets additional, like, gold for all of that, so he is just ridiculously fed at this point. Ezreal's ridiculously fed at this point. Cool.
Yeah, biggest snowball ever. Gonna miss
Here
via
comes
that.
Pike.
Here we go. Does look like the fight could start. Bone Sewer, it does land onto Novabot. It's gonna still be, it's still this Kiana and this Gangplank. They're split pushing in the side lanes, and there's no response from UT Dallas.
Yeah, there's nobody like Lux can clear a wave, but you certainly can't contest against the likes of this Iana. Miles doesn't hit the barrel literally.
No, he doesn't, which means now Lunarly actually has the advantage in this fight. Even if he does eat the orange, he's K for a moment until Shady gets there. That's going to be Cannon Barrage. That's going to be the parlay on top of the R button to help him secure the kill onto Lunarly.
Yeah, unfortunately, Niles pressed his third summoner key, which is, of course, calling Shady to his lane to make sure that the 1v1 goes in his favor. So, nice roam from Shady there. He's using the mobility of this Pike to its fullest. And now Kiana also uncontested on the top side of the map because Lux had to respond to bottom to make sure that tower didn't go down. So, as you said, they're rotating around the map, pulling UT Dallas apart, trying to make sure that they can't contest in any one position without giving up something somewhere else.
And now this tower should fall very quickly to a Gangplank and an Ezreal. That's going to be the final spark. Not going to do a damn thing. The hook interrupts the Absolute Zero from getting the full channel. Now that's the supreme display of talent. The SDT going to deal a lot of damage. Lunarly, he's probably in a lot of trouble, but he manages to escape. Goes back in. A lot of damage onto Maryville. Not enough.
Yeah, if they're able to continue to push this wave forward before anything else happens, they can actually maybe contest Baron, but I don't know that they have the damage to finish it before Maryville actually gets back. So they're just going to try to push him off, make sure they can't do it right here and right now. No back from Ezreal. He's sitting on 1,400 gold, so he has no back right now. That's the one kind of thing to mention about that. Everybody else was able to get it back after
and
all this
speaking
damage.
of that Ezreal,
Yeah.
5K!
What is it?
5,000.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. It is a little bit disgraceful to be able to do that
When
kind
you
of
said
thing.
it was big, I didn't know it was that big.
Oh yeah, it's something. This Ash pick has really not worked out for the Johns. I really thought it would. I thought it would do a lot better in this game, but value just picks up so much avid. Look at the farm difference. He has
I've actually done some theory crafting on this pick, right? And I thought it's like, okay, it will increase Ash picks. I don't think people should prioritize it as much as they are. As the Baron is starting up, yes, the Hawk Shot is great. Yes, it is. But that extra on-hit attack, auto-attack reset doesn't suddenly make her a great 80 carry compared to the time before, when she was actually in the lower half.
So, I think, in my opinion, if you're playing in a style like this, or in a less competitive, less communicative setting, it's better to go lethal tempo with Blade of the Ruined King. I think she's more of a late game scaler. She does a lot. She still has the same utility. But when you are in pro play,
Niles is just
just
pushing. Yeah, so
and then they don't even have to do anything. They just have to prevent backs because Niles just has so much cleave. He queued the minion instead of anything else.
Yeah, so now the arrow misses. The biggest snowball ever is going to miss. And Nile gets an inhibitor. For
very easily.
Change there.
And there's interior, like, pressure here from the side of Maryville. Oh,
here we go. That's going to be the SZT. Gonna be OP. Help Niles take down Sharp. Absolute Zero with that AP. Gonna deal out a lot of damage, but it is not enough as Wolfie picks up another kill. Niles takes down one. Lunarly trying to do what he can. Isn't going to be able to do it as that's kill number 3 for Niles. And now with Wolfie, that's the last kill of the fight. That might actually just be the game for Maryville University taking this game 3.
Yeah, exceptionally clean here. Again, they won it in the exact same fashion they won game 1. They have an advantage. They pressure it around. They just kind of grow it naturally, and it works out for them. There's no real mistakes made in this one. No real contention back. There were some good plays from Sharp, but that was about it. That's really all that you can say from the side of UT Dallas. Great series. I think they went longer than anyone would have expected, but phenomenal set from Maryville taking the win in this.
Absolutely. And as you said, that's all she wrote, as Wolfie gets one last kill to add insult to injury. That's going to be the series.
Yeah. Well played. As no one expected them to get even to game 3, let alone that far or be that competitive. Certainly UT Dallas looks like a lot stronger than I think we would have expected, and Sharp specifically has star already on him, at least in my eyes.
Yeah, right now I do think that Sharp could just definitely become that player that UT Dallas just needs to play around, become one of the things. Because like even if you're in the face of guys like Niles, in the face of guys like Wolfie, and you're performing this well, that speaks volumes because these are some of the best players in all of North American collegiate, and even players who are considered top tier, even in North American amateur. So to have that, it speaks volumes. So just looking at the damage dealt here as we're loading into this last little bit. Sorry, guys. Sometimes these things can get a little bit of a pain in the butt to load, but uh, right there, we'll see. Sharp dealt the most damage on his team by a fair margin, and he even out damaged his opponent in Wolfie.
Yeah, he did. It was really good, at least from the side of Sharp. He was able to do quite a bit with very little in terms of what he had in terms of game strength. I think there are further issues than just individual play. I really thought Literally and Sharp played very, very cleanly. Novabot had his moments. The Johns was a little inconsistent on the Ash pick. I think maybe they need to work on it or just abandon it for something else. And the other big thing is they weren't necessarily identifying Maryville's win conditions very well. We saw 2 games in a row them just leaving Gangplank on an island for the most part. You really cannot do that. You see, in this game, he had 15,000 gold. He had 1,000 more than Value, and Value had 300 farm. Like, Niles was crazy in this game on the Gangplank pick. You cannot leave Literally on an island up there, not give it many support from Novabot. So, to me, like, they have to clean up some of that, clean up some of the individual drafting mistake, or at least some of the champion pools, that kind of thing. But this
Mhm.
team's got some talent.
It absolutely does. But now I have one question for you before we sort of end the day. Who was your MVP of the series?
Ooh, that's a tough one. We've seen like multiple iterations of this team come
Mhm.
through. Niles was really good through most of it. I think
I
Shady was also very, very good through most of it.
For
Um,
me, I have to give it to Niles.
Gotta give it. I would agree with that. I really think in game one he played. What was it? He played. And what did he play in game one? He played the Kled.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
he
played
was on the
Kled. He
Kled,
played Kled.
then he was on the Yasuo in game 2, and in game 3, the Gangplank.
Yeah, and honestly, game two, if they were going to win, it was going to be because of his Yasuo. So yeah, I think Niles through all 3 games had the best performances of anybody. Like I said, Shady's right there with him. I thought Shady played very, very well himself, but
Mhm.
Niles tanking that positional swap into the mid lane, especially into the likes of Sharp, who we saw was absolute beast. Really, really good play from him.
Yeah, very impressive from both teams today. They will have to learn and looking at the groups, let me double check it real quick just to make sure, that this group is who I think it is. Um, Sorry guys, Google Drive taking a second. Come on, Google, stop making me look like a fool. I'm already fine tonight. All right, so with this group, it is Maryville, it is UT Dallas, Arbor, First Blood Crusade, Team Root, and Obsidian Dread. I honestly think that these two teams can be the top two teams in that group.
They very well could be. We've seen very high level play. Maryville is
Mhm.
probably projected to be number one in just about any group. As you said, they might be the favorite to win it all.
Yeah.
This team being that competitive, like I know Niles wasn't in top lane the whole time. Iconic wasn't here. Wolf wasn't here. Value wasn't here the whole time. But
Mhm.
man, they were competitive. They were here the whole time. Even in this game, they were competitive. So you
Yeah.
can't discount that as being something positive. And they have room to grow and work with, especially like you said, first year for Sharp, able to kind of develop into a player that could potentially take this team to further heights.
Absolutely. And another team to look out for in this group will be Obsidian Dread. So just looking at the roster, just looking at these games going forward. Unfortunately, we will move the stream away to another group for next week just to, give it a round, give it a little bit of fair thing. But honestly, this seems like the most interesting UPL split in a while because there is no Supernova, there is no Anu, there's no Zenith, there's no Polar Ace, there's no Radiance. There's none of these like overwhelming dominant favorites. And
Yeah.
even when you're considered an overwhelming dominant favorite like Maryville, you're not invincible.
No, you're not. Yeah. So some of these teams, these smaller teams, or the teams that are little bit lesser known, maybe to some of the people who have watched UPL over the years, they
Mhm.
have a chance to come into the spotlight and at least take it to teams like Maryville, maybe challenge them even at their own game. So this is where they develop. You know, Zenith wasn't always Zenith, Polar Ace wasn't always Polar Ace. They had to develop into those teams. This is where
Well,
they can without these teams
uh,
coming.
Polaris kind of just came back, and it's like, oh,
That's
hey, our
fair.
roster's freaking awesome.
That's fair, but I mean the idea is kind of the same in that like sometimes these organizations need like space to work with, and now some of these smaller orgs will have space to work with to
Yeah,
develop into people to watch at least.
absolutely. And guys, with that out of the way, that's going to be it for our stream. Thank you for joining us here tonight. I've been Hypertension, joined by Rebel Fox. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, goodbye and good night.